Welcome back, everybody, to the punchitchewiepodcast. I hope you had a great week.
Yeah.
Hello. We have an awesome guest with us today, our good friend Brody, and he's also the host of the Simple Man podcast, runs Officially Star Wars on Instagram, and his favorite character is Luke Skywalker.
Wow, he got it.
And his least favorite movie is The Last Jedi.
No. Come on. We're going to get right into the hard-hitting topics here. Do you like The Last Jedi?
No, we'll get to it.
Yeah,
we'll get to it.
No, thanks for having me, guys. It's a lot of fun. I feel like I'm at home here. So
you are, dude. You are.
Yeah, awesome.
I'm glad. Honestly, thank you so much for making it. I'm glad we could do this.
Of course.
And you were definitely one of the first people. As soon as we started the podcast, you were like, "Let's do this.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be on the podcast."
Yeah, I've been wanting to come on, so I'm glad to be here. And thanks, guys, for having me.
Yeah,
no,
thank you
course,
for coming.
Of course. No, yeah, thank you. And we've been wanting to do guests like on the show like since we started. Like this was always something that we wanted to get to.
Yeah.
And when I tell you that you were always on my mind when I'm like, we got to figure it out so we can have Brody. We got to figure it out. Like,
that's awesome.
Literally all the time. Yeah. But I'm glad we're finally doing it.
Yeah, no, guests can be hard, to coordinate and everything. But no, super glad to be here. You've shown me your whole place, and I'm just in love. So I'll stay here all night if I have to.
No, for sure. No, yeah, thanks, man. But yeah, so we've got a lot of stuff to talk about this week. A lot of new things were announced, or I don't know if there were announcements, but like developments in the Star Wars community. I'm sure you are aware. That's pretty much what you do. It's your job to be aware.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
But Jesus. All right. So let's just open the show. Let's start with the opening clip.
So we like to start with a silly little clip.
Okay.
We do.
A little icebreaker,
a little icebreaker.
if you will.
But found this. It was pretty. I'll let it speak for itself.
Hey, brother. Hey, cool question, man. I'm looking for the.
What? I'll explain.
Fine. We're all fine here. No, thank you. How are you?
Oh my god. That's right. Rock out. Good suit. Okay, so
I love that intro music. That's awesome.
No, thank you.
Ozzy Osbourne produced that for you guys?
Oh yeah. We're cool. We talk on the weekends. So if you want, we'll play it again so you can hear it.
Hey, brother. Hey, cool question, man. I'm looking for the.
Constipated or something?
It's the. He's doing the Lego Yoda death scream.
That's iconic.
That makes
so
more
here,
sense.
let me play it so we can compare it.
There we go. 1 second YouTube video.
500,000 views.
We're in the wrong business.
I know.
Oh Jesus! All right.
What the heck was that?
YouTube has a mind of its own. Jesus! All right.
That was awesome.
No, yeah. So, all right, we are so excited to have you here. I guess I want to start off with a question for you that we honestly, this was like the first question we thought to ask you.
Okay.
First of all, you know what? I don't know. I guess we should save it. For the listeners, I guess tell us a little bit about yourself first. How did you start Officially Star Wars? How did you get introduced to the Star Wars community?
Sure.
Let's start there.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I've been a Star Wars fan my whole life, like a lot of us. You know. My dad passed it on to me, and
That's cool.
my earliest memories, have Star Wars involved. I think I've told this on other podcasts, but this might be my first memory ever.
Yeah.
My parents took me to the Phantom Menace when I was like 3 years old or whatever.
Yeah.
And we were like late for some reason. You'd think my dad wouldn't show up late for Star Wars, but we walk in and it was the gooberfish scene where they're with the Gungans or whatever, and the gooberfish was like right there in my face, and I just started screaming. And
oh my God.
I don't really remember that well, but I'm pretty sure we had to leave because I wasn't having it. Yeah. So I mean, Star Wars has always been something special to me, and when Revenge of the Sith came out in 2005 and it was like over, it was super sad. And definitely like there was a few years probably in high school where it was like a little bit of a disconnect. I didn't like watch Star Wars that much, but when The Force Awakens was announced and Disney was bringing everything back, like I was so excited. Like I've never been so excited for like movies before in my entire life. And like that first teaser trailer for The Force Awakens dropped, and I was like showing my mom, and she like didn't care. I was just so excited. And I think it was like around the time like November or December when The Force Awakens was coming out. I was like, I just like need to talk about Star Wars with other people, because I didn't talk about Star Wars with friends or anything. It just like wasn't
Literally
a topic.
Ever,
And so I just made an Instagram account. I think it was called like right at first like Star Wars Fan News or something like that, or like I changed the name around a little bit, and then I landed on Officially Star Wars, which honestly, little inside fact, I've never really liked that name very much. But it just stuck, so I've kept it so long. But just wanted to talk Star Wars with people, and started like doing giveaways, and the account just started growing, so I just have never stopped. I've been doing it pretty much every day for the past 8 years.
Wow. That's awesome.
You're very consistent. Honestly. You're like one of the only people that actually stays consistent with it.
Yeah, and honestly, it just comes from like I truly love doing it. Like you make
kinda
money.
have to.
Yeah, like money is always like a factor with these sort of things, but like it's not really about that. In a lot of ways, like it's just all about the passion for Star Wars, talking to people about Star Wars. It's just like so much fun. And something as a kid I never had, so I really value that. And like meeting people like you guys, and like going to conventions and that sort of thing, it's like completely changed my life from who I was before like The Force Awakens, so it's so cool. And like honestly, you guys seeing what you guys do with your company and whatnot, like that has inspired me so much. Like
thank you.
I've done like stickers and stuff in the past, and like honestly that was like a direct result of seeing you guys and like just seeing how you guys had fun with it and like put your own spin on certain Star Wars things, and that's just so cool. Like,
Thank you.
And by the way, we have your pin right there. I don't know if you see it on the bottom.
Yeah, this is my
The clone?
one and only. I don't make very many.
It was a good pin.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks.
No, I didn't. Thank you though. And are you have you been developing more on that end?
No, I mean, as far as like the merch, honestly, I've been kind of chilling. It takes a lot of work, like, I have a job and it takes a lot of time. I do want to kind of pick it back up and start designing stuff again. But when you're doing it all yourself, it does take a lot of energy. Effort,
dude,
sure.
It's only the two of us. With what we do, and it's like
barely hanging on.
Like I literally only focus on like the art aspect of it, right? Because that's
you have to start there.
So like I'm the one always focusing on the art and like the concepts and like what we're gonna do. If it weren't for her taking care of like literally everything else, like the business side of it,
that's awesome.
Like he's the artist and then I'm the organizer.
You're the brains.
So like I feel like we make a good team.
That's awesome.
Because we kind of like what he's good at, I can't do.
Yeah.
What I'm good at, he can't do. So we kind of like meet in the middle. But I don't think I could do what I do without like his help either. Like
that's awesome.
It's definitely
hell yeah
team effort.
We definitely wouldn't be here. I'd just be drawing and nothing would get posted, nothing would get made.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you'd be making it but like never posting it.
I'd be too shy.
Yeah.
No, but that's awesome, man. That's I honestly I can't wait to see what else you come out with.
Thanks, man. Yeah.
And if anything, we should collab.
I know.
Ooh,
I feel like
that'd be fun.
we've done little things here and there.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's posting or whatever. But
Yeah.
yeah, we should definitely like actually collab on
Let's do
something.
it.
Yeah,
Should
Let's
do a
do it.
pin.
Yeah.
that would be sick.
Yeah.
That would be
It
super
would be.
sick. You're probably a little bit more better at the art stuff than I am. I'm more of like let me find a clone trooper picture
Yeah.
and trace over it. But
No.
it comes out all right. But
Yeah. No, well, I mean, it did come out really cool.
thank you.
But
Thank you.
but yeah, we should do something. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
And so how long has it been now with Officially Star Wars?
I think it was December or November 2015, so
like
almost 8 years now.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
So,
yeah, and there was a period, honestly, for the first like 4 years or so, where like I was posting 3 times a day, every single day.
Dude,
Like
yeah.
I take breaks now here and there, like weekends. I won't really focus on it too much anymore. But there was a strong
Yeah.
period where I was
Yeah.
grinding there, and I mean, it paid off for sure. But
I mean, it's definitely
Yeah.
You can-
yeah. Now it's all about the algorithm and,
Oh my
it's
God.
screwing me over every
Dude,
day,
yeah.
fighting that
It's-
thing pretty much.
It's so bad.
It's
It
so
is
annoying.
so
Don't even get me
freaking
started.
No,
It's so annoying.
But let me just say too that to kind of piggyback off of what you were saying is like that you really do this because you genuinely enjoy it.
Yeah.
You can really tell.
Yeah.
Like let me just tell you, you can
Yeah.
really tell with just like the content that you post
Mhm.
and seeing you as a person on your page. I think it is a very makes a difference.
Yeah.
Like I think it makes a big difference and sets you aside from a lot of the other like Star Wars pages.
Yeah.
Because most of them are just like repost pages or,
Yeah.
or,
And, like,
you
they
know,
don't
That's
really
like
show
my
their
least
face.
favorite thing. Like,
Yeah.
people who just repost. I mean, I'm using pictures from Star Wars or videos from Star Wars. It's
Yeah.
all reposting in a sense, but like
Yeah.
taking other people's posts that they've made
Yeah.
and just reposting that. No, yeah, I appreciate that because that's how I that's all I want to do is like drive the positivity in Star
Yeah.
Wars. There's just so much negativity, like
Yeah.
regardless of what
Yeah.
you think, like your opinions on something specific. It's like
Yeah.
there's a way you can do it and still be positive,
Yeah,
for the
exactly.
fandom. And there's so much negativity out there.
Yeah.
I think the biggest problem too with that is like people just don't know how to communicate
Yeah.
what they're
Yeah.
thinking
Without getting
Without-
angry.
Yeah,
or-
it's
Yeah.
like you don't need to get
Yeah.
angry.
Yeah.
I have hundreds of conversations with people who have all different types of
Yeah.
opinions, and some people who completely disagree with what I'm saying,
Yeah.
but we still have like a nice conversation
Yeah.
that's civil, and
'Cause-
but other people are like, fuck you. And,
Yeah.
Yoda screaming at me. And yeah, so
Yeah.
that gets a little. I'm used to it now,
No,
obviously.
of
I'll
course,
I'll
yeah.
post, I love The Last Jedi, and you know what
Unfollow.
yeah, it comes with that, but I'm used to it now, and it's actually
Yeah.
fun
Yeah.
to egg people on.
Wow,
Sometimes.
you shill! I'm
Yeah.
unfollowing.
Oh my god.
I guess I am a shill, but
So, I mean, we all are at this point.
that's
No.
such an interesting thing to me is like how, I mean, I get right at first, maybe in the first like couple years where like Disney was still up and coming with Star Wars, but it's like it's almost been like 10 years now. If you're not on the train, you don't have to like absolutely everything, but
Yeah.
like get off the train if you don't like it
Exactly.
anymore. Like
Exactly.
if every single thing that's coming out, you're looking
Yeah.
for the negatives and you're looking like, for the things that you don't like versus the things you do
Exactly.
like, and just stop watching it.
Yeah.
You know?
I totally feel you on that, and it really irks me because I'm sure you know, but like I'm a huge EU fan.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
huge EU fan, and I love. And I'll say it right now, and I've said it on the podcast before. I love the sequels. I respect them like as the three like. They're Star Wars movies. Like,
Yeah,
I'm never
yeah.
gonna be like, that's not canon.
Yeah,
That's not,
yeah.
like, let's fucking
Oh my
fuck
yeah,
up.
those
that
guys-
comment makes me crazy.
Those types
Oh my
of comments
God.
are just like, are you in some other like
Yeah.
world
reality.
where like
Yeah.
I think it's YouTube, honestly, like where it's just confirming like your own opinion of, people will post fact videos and news videos about
Yeah.
Kathleen Kennedy, and none of it's true.
None
but
of it's
people
true.
believe
Yeah.
it.
That's
Like,
been coming out since like 2012. Like,
Mike
She's
Zero.
getting fired tomorrow.
oh
Yeah,
my god,
yeah.
dude. That
Yeah.
guy. No, yeah, I think, and that definitely plays a huge part in it for sure, especially.
Fanning the flame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like I said, like I love the EU,
Mm-hmm.
and yes, there's things from the sequel trilogy that I may not like, but I'm not like
Like
oh
what?
those are.
Like
I mean,
what?
I mean, we'll get to it. We'll get to it.
He has a PowerPoint. Don't worry.
Yeah, don't worry, it's coming up. No, but like at a certain point, you have to come and even if there's things that you don't like, you have to realize that that moment or those things in those movies are the things that for other people, like for me, my favorite movie is Return of the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite movie, my favorite part of the movie is seeing Anakin redeemed and seeing Luke, throw his lightsaber down in front of the Emperor. Like those moments, right? Those moments to me are special, right? And there's moments like that in the sequel trilogy that are those moments for so many other people.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And I feel like a big part of the community doesn't like if they just realized that.
Yeah.
It's like you don't have to love it, but
Yeah.
respect that those are special moments to other people and for different reasons. Like everyone's different. Everyone has their own understanding of these films, of the stories, of the messages that they portray.
Yeah.
And it's like it may not resonate with you, but it resonates with so many others.
Definitely.
You know?
Especially the younger crowd. Like just like the prequels.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The thing that's been getting me lately is people who love the prequels, like, no offense.
What
here,
about
no offense.
me? What, you're wearing an Anakin Skywalker shirt, so what are you gonna say?
No,
right
I
now?
wore this for you. I wore this for you, honestly. I had Obi-Wan and I have
come in peace.
Anakin. When people are just so, I mean, the prequels are good. I love the prequels, but they're so gung-ho about those movies, like they're perfect, and then they're like hating the sequels as if they're like abominations. I'm like,
it's like
It's very hypocritical.
it's super hypocritical. I think it's just a younger, like teenage, like year people who, weren't necessarily like old enough when the prequels were coming out to realize how like kind of bad they were received.
Yeah.
And now that the sequels came out, it's like a trend to hate them and stuff. So that really annoys me.
Yeah.
It's like
No,
one of my least
no,
favorite.
I
comments,
agree
but-
on that end because like what you were saying is like each generation has their Star Wars, right? So like the OT or the older fans and prequel fans are like us, and then the sequels are like the little kids.
Yeah.
Or I mean younger or all ages, right? But like
But like there
predominantly,
is a generation of kids that are like their Star Wars is the sequels.
Yeah.
Like our Star Wars was the prequels.
Exactly.
Our parents' Star Wars was the OT.
Exactly.
So it's like
you have to keep that in mind
There's got to be
when you're
some
talking to people.
Yeah, there's
got
to be
Star
some
Wars.
level of respect. Of
course.
If you're like a real fan, and I use that term loosely, but like you're a real fan of Star Wars, you love it. Like you should have some sort of respect for new stuff, even if it's not your cup of tea. Like it is somebody else's.
It is, exactly.
What's funny though is that I have a little brother who's 13, and he is all about raised too powerful. It's like, but I think it's because he watches it on YouTube and he sees TikToks that are like talking.
He's just repeating what he's hearing.
I'll ask him like, oh, why? Like I grill him about it. Like, tell me why? In the lore it says, He's like, oh, well, it just. Yoda scream,
That's the default.
So it is interesting how the different generations are, accepting of different things. Like I love the original trilogy. Like those are by far my favorites. It's just something about those.
They're the best.
When you show the original trilogy to somebody who like doesn't like Star Wars as much, like they seem to not like those ones as much because they're older and kind of slower and but I don't know, those to me are like what Star Wars is.
That's definitely like
the heart
core
of it.
Exactly. No, it's definitely like there's so many elements of the original trilogy there is to love. Like the music alone, there's fans that just they're like the fucking music.
Like I don't even watch
John
it.
Williams.
Like God, right?
The piano on fire.
But like there's the music, like all of the advancements in cinema and special effects that like the behind the scenes stuff that Star Wars just with the first movie changed in the industry forever. So it's like there has to be a certain level at least of respect for those movies, even if they're not your favorite. It's like if you're sitting here and you're like, I love the prequels or I love the sequels, but you're talking shit about the OT,
then
we have a problem. Like,
maybe rewatch it.
Maybe rewatch it.
Honestly, in the like, however long I've been doing it, like nobody ever talks bad on the originals. Like, there will be somebody here and there who says, it's a little boring, or like, it's not as fast paced, but I've never heard really anybody be like, A New Hope's bad.
No, I've lately I've been seeing a few people like say stuff about A New Hope specifically, and I'm like, I get, like, I don't fight them, I just see it and I'm like, okay, whatever.
I don't know, like A New Hope is just like, that is Star Wars. And it's just so amazing how like it wasn't really planned to be this giant saga, and it was a self-contained movie, but it was a perfect movie pretty much, and then it spanned into everything that is Star Wars now. Like, that's so amazing.
It is. And I think my favorite part of that like whole story, not the Star Wars story, but like the fact that George was like, it's gonna flop, is that that he went on vacation with Spielberg and they wrote Indy, like, that blows my mind. It's
he like mentally checked out.
Yeah, he like mentally
checked out. Ready for it to just
tank.
Like, and the fact that after it was such a success, like nobody wanted to fund the sequel, and like he had to pay for it out of his pocket, and
it worked out for him. Right?
I mean, like, it's so weird how they were so doubtful of it back then. And I wish I could go back and be there in 1977 and watch that. I'm sure it was mind blowing,
dude. My what's funny is my dad saw it at the Chinese theater.
Oh, that's sick.
And it's a funny story because they weren't. He was there with his best friend, and they were like teenagers, and they weren't planning on going. They saw it was like they were there and on Hollywood Boulevard. They saw it. They saw that it was there, and they pretty much just like walked up to the ticket booth, bought 2 tickets, and like walked in. Well, they bought the tickets, and as soon as like the box office lady gives them the tickets, they start hearing a crowd of people like cussing at them.
Really?
And yelling, and they look over, and there's a whole fucking line,
like
all the way around.
They just skipped the whole line.
Yeah, they skipped the whole line because they came from the other side.
But they didn't mean to.
They didn't mean
to.
to.
Like,
it just
didn't realize.
And they just got in though.
They got in. Wow. Oh, they already had the tickets.
The ticket booth lady was just like, I got you.
I got you. That's fine. But yeah, that's
it up.
So yeah, my dad actually watched it, and he's like, yeah, it was cool. And I'm like, really? That's it?
It was cool. At like the coolest theater you could have watched it.
The Star Wars experience.
Did you watch Return of the Jedi in theater when they re-released it?
No.
It was fun.
It was really cool, and like seeing everything in such a big scale, right? Because like I've only seen the original trilogy on like TV, right? Like on at home. But to see like all the shots with all the ships, like you can see all the little tiny details, and like seeing even the costumes, you could see like little things you just don't really notice. But I cannot imagine, like, it was so emotional and like moving hearing the music and like seeing everything on the big screen. I cannot imagine what it would have felt like to watch it like when it came out
for the first time,
like in 1983, to watch that movie. Like, I understand why people watched it like 15 times in theater, because like it would like it's just so good. It's so good.
And like,
I hope
movies weren't that good back then. Like, it was like, it must have been so mind blowing. Like,
dude, I forgot to put it aside, but there a while, I think like last year, I'm big, obviously, sci-fi fan, not just Star Wars fan, but like actual like old like sci-fi movies,
stuff,
like nerd shit. So I have this collection. It's like a DVD collection. It has like 50 old sci-fi movies on like 5 DVDs, right? And one day I was sitting here, I was like looking through which movies were on there, because there was a couple that I liked. I was like, I've never seen all of them, so I was looking, and there was one. It was called like, what was it? It was like Galaxy Wars or some shit like that, right? And it came out 1977.
Really?
And I was like, that's interesting.
It was a knockoff?
No, it was a completely different but dude, when I tell you the difference in like quality, in special effects, pacing, the music, the sound effect, everything. It's like you're watching a movie from like the 90s
Yeah.
and a movie from like the 50s.
Yeah.
Like side to side.
Yeah.
But they came out the same year.
It is crazy, like how, I mean, that's why George Lucas got so respected for that stuff. Like, I mean, really, most movies from the 70s are not very good. Like, they don't hold up nowadays. But you watch the original trilogy now, and I mean, you can see little things where obviously they were made 40 years ago, but they hold up still 40 years later, and I mean, that's insane. Like,
and honestly, I would even go as far as to saying like most of the stuff that's originally from the first cut, I would say I've never seen like, oh, that's weird, or like noticed it.
Yeah.
If I notice anything, it's from like the special edition stuff.
It sticks out so much.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The contrast.
Yeah. Such a weird thing that he went back and did that for like the most random little bits. It's not even like he changed anything really, except for Anakin's like Force Ghost. But
true. I think it was more like, it's definitely more for like the atmosphere that he wanted to give. But like that's the stuff I noticed. Like that's the stuff that looks off. But if that wasn't there, like the original cut, I think most of it would hold up because it's all practical effects. It's all real. Like,
especially since they've like remastered it in 4K and it looks amazing. The first time I watched it on Disney Plus, I was like, holy crap. Like it looks like it was made a couple years ago, you know? There's this one shot though in A New Hope when they're like going to the cantina and like a big like beast walks in front of the screen.
Ronto?
It's like, why did he put that in there? Like,
I always think it's like a cutaway.
But
it's the same scene.
Yeah, I'm like, why did he put that in there? Like, what was his reasoning for that?
I need this.
Oh,
I mean, like, I understand it from like an artist perspective of like, you could literally finish a piece and then the next day it'd be like, I hate it. Or like, I want to change this, I want to change that. So like from an artist perspective, I understand him wanting to go back and like add things to it and kind of like tinker. But I also understand people that are like, we can't find the original. Like, didn't he like not destroy, but like,
I think there are versions out there, but it might be from people like themselves ripping the old tapes and like putting it onto a DVD or something. But I don't know that I've actually really seen the original cuts. Like maybe a couple times. I don't know.
I think the earliest version I've seen is like the VHS before the special edition.
Yeah, I think me too.
Like late 90s.
Yeah.
And that was still not with like the original Jabba.
Yeah.
Oh,
you know?
okay.
Never seen that version.
No,
never seen that.
I've just seen the scene, but I've never watched it.
It's so different.
It's so weird.
It's
like
so different with like just a human. Just like a fat guy.
Scottish guy.
Imagine being that actor. He's like, so I'm gonna make you how you really are supposed to look, and it's just like
I'm gonna
humongous
paint a giant slug over you.
You're in the biggest movie ever.
That was a dude's big break.
Exactly.
You weren't good enough. I'm gonna put a slug on top of you.
Oh no.
Oh my god.
That's one thing that kind of irks me about when people with the sequel trilogy, when they're like, there was no plan or anything, and like, I mean, there was no plan for the originals either. Like, he just kind of made it work, and you know, like Luke and Leia kiss in the second movie, and they're like, they were not brother and sister at that point. Like, he made that up on the spot, you know, when Return of the Jedi came. But he still made it work, but it's not like there's zero plot holes or like.
No, there's definitely stuff.
There's imperfections for sure.
It's like also like when Obi-Wan's like, I don't remember ever owning a droid, you know, and R2's like, what the fuck? Excuse me,
liar.
He's like,
I've been on 100 missions with you. You've seen me commit murder. Like,
literally.
I got
Anakin's only friend.
I mean, but see, there's always those like, you know, Obi-Wan's just a kooky guy. He's just making it up to play Luke, you know. This story of how Anakin died and whatnot.
From a certain point of view.
But even in that, in A New Hope, when Obi-Wan is telling Luke that about his dad, like that actually was the story at that point, and Darth Vader wasn't his dad. Like, so people didn't like that when Vader was Luke's dad when it came out. There was a lot of objection to that. Like, people thought it was like completely out of left field, you know, that happened, and it kind of was, but obviously created the coolest reveal of movie history.
Literally,
most
still
iconic scene.
Been
like,
topped.
I mean, so it is interesting. I think a plan is good to have with your movies, obviously.
At least a basic idea.
Like plot.
Plot.
Yeah.
And nowadays with how movies are, I mean, you got to have a plan, but
Yeah.
You really
I'll say anything to defend the sequels.
No, yeah. I mean, I think if we want to get into this, but like I think that's my biggest thing with the sequels is I just wish they had like the story written out and then given it to like each director, you know? Or at least they communicate with each other.
Yeah, I think it was definitely a big mistake to have JJ and Kasdan write the first one, and then Rian Johnson writes the second one. Like that was the consistency of the first 6 movies. Was George wrote them all. He didn't direct them all, but he wrote them all. So I think the writing perspective is the most important part.
Yeah, definitely.
And having a random dude write one in the middle, it's gonna change the trajectory of the story.
And and it was also just him, right? Like, because like JJ had Kasdan, but Ryan, he was just like, well, I'm just gonna do it. Yeah, roll with it.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't know. I think that's my biggest thing with it.
That's definitely understandable. I think Rise of Skywalker, you start to see like
you really do
the like the negatives of that and not having a plan, and they're just having to like tie stuff up really quickly. But overall, I think it was I'm just trying to get you to say you like The Last Jedi.
Maybe by the end of this episode.
Maybe you'll change.
That's my goal.
No, like, look, I will always I respect it.
Yeah,
it's a Star Wars movie.
You can offend me, dude. It's fine.
No, no, but like, I like I said, I'm a huge EU fan, and I guess where I was going with that before is like I just hate that the EU fan community now is like how toxic it is.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I feel like I would agree with you.
Yeah.
But it's like you're being a dick.
Yeah.
Like, you're being a huge
asshole.
Yeah, there's a way to go about it.
Yeah.
It's like
it's not that. It's like it's like
not that deep.
You can read. Like Heir to the Empire still exists.
That's been my thing the whole time. It's like and truthfully, those movies or those books, stories were never going to be made into movies. Or I mean, George really wasn't on that path to do that. So, and then when they bought Star Wars and created new movies, they I feel like they weren't going to plagiarize what the EU did. Like they weren't just going to take those stories and turn them into movies. So they came up with their own ideas and like a new story for it. And I get like, that's funny that, the EU is such a wide thing. There's so many different storylines there.
Yeah.
I remember I saw The Force Awakens with like my family, and one of my uncles was there. And he started talking about like the Yuzang Vong, and I was just like, he's like, they should have included all that. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, that's not what the movie was. Like, it was a different story, And he was like, where, like, wasn't Chewbacca supposed to die or something? I was like, no, dude.
All the new Jedi Order stuff.
Yeah. So it is interesting.
Yeah, I think that's why. Obviously, Star Wars fans are passionate.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree on that, and I think that's where kind of the disconnect is, right? Because on like the toxic end on both sides, it's like, so the toxic EU fans will be like, the story was already told. This is actually the story. This is actually canon.
Yeah.
Which it isn't.
Yeah.
And people will like, it's canon. It's okay, whatever. It's like,
What? Yeah.
And then on the other side of like the toxic like sequel defenders is they're like, oh well, EU was like never canon, it never mattered, and like pretty much you don't matter. So that's when people get like really nasty, is because they make it this personal thing. It doesn't need to be a personal thing. It's not like
you
can
didn't write the book. It's not your story. Like I don't get why it has to be a personal attack. And like the EU stories still exist in the same way that they did before. So I just don't get why you can't have your cake and eat it too. Like, and if you don't want the story to continue, then don't watch the new movies.
That's my thing. Like what you were saying like earlier, is like, get off the train if you don't like where it's going. Like it's,
go read Heir to the Empire again. Like that's fine. Like if Disney never bought Star Wars, you'd still be having to read Heir to the Empire for the 30th time. Like, and not have anything on screen. So I think there's a proper balance to have it for sure. Like,
I think so.
I was always a big comic book kid, like
same.
I remember Splinters of the Mind's Eye was like the coolest comic book to me. But then Empire Strikes Back, like it didn't make any sense with Empire Strikes Back.
That was technically the only comic before the Disney takeover that was not canon.
Right.
To like the EU timeline or whatever.
That's true.
Yeah.
Because
But-
it interfered with Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
But that was like the first sequel, right? Like to that
Yeah.
to A New Hope story.
Exactly.
Like, that was always my favorite, and like it still exists, and
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
still go
Exactly.
read it if I want. But
That's funny
Yeah.
that's a very funny like comparison for you to be like that was like my favorite story, and it was like the first Star Wars story that was deemed not canon.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. Like the stories still exist.
Yeah.
And like I feel like people get so
Canon-
upset like with
doesn't
the
matter.
label.
It's just a label.
It doesn't matter. Enjoy what you like and
my
focus
God.
on that. Don't
God.
focus on all the stuff you don't like. What is the point in that?
yeah, I've been preaching that for like,
it's-
you're taking words right out of my
Yeah.
mouth. Yeah, I just don't get why you can't have both, and you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
it can't. That word canon has made people so sensitive, and it just doesn't matter.
It really
it's
doesn't.
a story.
Dude, people
you know?
get
the way I
so
see it-
mad at him because he likes EU and canon.
Yeah,
and people will
that's
be
so
like,
weird.
"What do you mean? Like you're supposed to
can't
be
like
on
both."
our side."
Yeah.
It's like I'm not supposed to watch any show or movie or comic or
Like, I'll be on
nothing
Twitter.
new.
I'll be on Twitter arguing with an EU fan. I'm like,
Yeah.
I agree with you. in
Yeah.
most
I'm on your
aspects.
side, dude.
Why are we
you
fighting?
Yeah,
me?
yeah.
And I'll be like, dude, you can enjoy canon and legends, right? And then they'll respond with like, I don't need your permission. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Like, dude, oh my god.
But-
okay, the way I look at it is like it's a galaxy far, far away, right? And in any like story, like oral story, when you pass down a story, it changes over time. Certain things get lost or certain things get added, right?
Yeah.
Star Wars is such an expansive universe that's how I look at when there's like canon or EU or like legends. It literally means like legends of, the past.
Yeah,
That's
like
a cool
folklore
thing. Like
and-
exactly.
Yeah.
Like that's how I look at it, and that's how I enjoy both.
At
Because
this
it's
point-
like it could have happened.
Yeah.
Maybe in another parallel universe it
Yeah.
happened, but like I just hate that people feel like because it's not canon, it like didn't happen
Yeah, it
or it's
doesn't
like
matter.
irrelevant or it doesn't
Yeah.
matter because that's so stupid. That's just a company putting
Yeah.
a label on a book series. It's not like 40 years of stories didn't happen.
Yeah, and
Like-
like they just erased them from the earth. Yeah, I don't get that whatsoever.
No, yeah. At this
Yeah.
point, Star Wars is modern mythology.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
mythology is mythology because of that very reason. It's like these stories that have been passed down for generations that everyone tells a different version of that story.
Yeah,
It's like Hercules is the best example, I guess. It's like we know probably the best closest example of that is the Disney movie,
Yeah.
right? Hercules. None of that is how it
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
happened, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's
But-
not. I thought that was exactly how it happened.
No, yeah. Well, like the original story, but like someone from Greece would probably tell you, no, it wasn't the Hydra, it
Yeah.
was this or whatever, right? So it's
you mean to tell me that Kratos didn't murk his ass in the games? Like that's canon.
yeah, exactly.
It's canon.
It's canon. But and like, to me, I think that's really fucking cool.
Yeah,
you know, the
no,
fact that
that's
it's
cool.
like everyone has, there's different versions of these stories, and to kind of maybe make it more, I don't know, relatable or more like a better way to digest it is like most of the time if I'm talking to someone, I'll be like, look, the way I see it is, at this point, Star Wars is a multiverse,
Yeah,
kind of like Marvel.
yeah,
Marvel has the comic book universe, and then they have the MCU,
yeah,
and you don't hear anyone bitching.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like what you don't.
I know there's so
comics
many.
aren't
I mean,
canon.
Yeah, there's been Marvel stories for 80 years that
Yeah.
so many different times,
Yeah.
and now they've tried to define it in this multiverse. But before it was just like, okay, here's a Spider-Man story, and then here's another Spider-Man story, and
Yeah.
Exactly.
you might like this one, you might not like this one.
Yeah.
I think Marvel has that freedom where Star Wars does, like, people do want it to be a consistent story, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like it's hard to believe in Luke Skywalker with his kids in the EU and believe in the sequel.
It
Luke
is.
Skywalker.
It's
like,
and I think
those are
that
conflicting things. You
it's
know?
Yeah.
two opposite sides of the character.
Yeah.
I would say, right? Because there's one that just it's two very. But the good thing, I guess, with Star Wars is that I see it as just two timelines. Like Marvel, it's like fucking infinite.
Yeah.
Infinite, right?
All
like,
timelines.
Star Wars is just, there's the canon timeline and then there's the Legends timeline.
Yeah.
And you can either enjoy both or just one or neither. Like fucking pick. Just pick.
But if you hate both, don't go on the internet and hate it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that like boils down to like, especially the EU community, which, sad to say, it's like, if you're not enjoying Andor, don't watch it. If
I know. Like it's like hate watching.
It's like
you can't miss out on it because you don't want to miss out, but it's like you're gonna just hate the whole thing. And especially when there's episodes. It's one thing if it's a movie, you just go and watch it once, but when it's weekly episodes and you're okay, I hated this episode, let me watch the next one. Oh, I hated this one. Oh, let me try the third one. Oh, I hated this one.
You're
so for
probably
12 straight
hate,
weeks, you're hating something. It's just like, what are you doing to yourself?
It's
like,
ridiculous.
If I don't like a show, I just stop watching it.
Exactly.
I get it's Star Wars. It's a little bit different. Like, people take it super seriously. But it's just like, stop watching
But if you're
it.
not enjoying it,
if it's been 10 years of you fucking hating it,
like, it's like, chill out,
find
dude.
something
Like,
else.
go watch some Marvel or something.
literally, like
Try
literally anything else.
Battlestar Galactica
There's
or something.
plenty of sci-fi
Yeah.
for you to explore.
Yeah.
Exactly. Go watch The Expanse. Oh my god. But I mean, honestly, I think the best way for the Star Wars community to stop fighting amongst each other is focus it on something, like on someone else, like the Star Trek community, right?
Oh my
Don't
God.
fight with Star Wars fans.
Don't
fight
light
with
up the Star Trek fan
that was
pages.
that was like the craziest phenomenon to me when people started fighting in the Star Wars community.
Yeah.
Obviously, the internet was like social media is a newer thing, but
Yeah.
it seemed like before it was hard to find other Star Wars fans to even talk shit to anybody else. But now it's like so easy to connect with somebody about Star Wars that you don't even consider the fact that, oh, I didn't get to talk to people about this before and have that appreciation for it. Whereas like for me, I have that perspective of not talking about Star Wars. So when I do get to talk to someone, I'm like, this is awesome. Let's talk about what we like and what's fun and that sort of thing. But people are definitely a-holes.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, yeah. We definitely need that ancient rivalry between like Star Wars fans and Trekkies.
Yeah.
Oh my
Right?
God.
That has not been a thing
Right.
since I've been doing it. I haven't heard about Star Trek one time.
Right.
Like, yeah.
And I mean, not like in a negative, like, I mean, in a fun way.
Yeah, Star
like,
Trek
I feel
sucks.
like
Losers.
Trekkie bitches.
Absolute.
you know, like I think there's a difference between going like, oh, like Star Trek fans are the fucking worst, or they're you know, like not like that. I mean, like the simple
Like
matter,
playful.
like it's not a matter of which fan is cooler, but just accepting and like knowing that Star Wars is much cooler.
Yeah.
Like just fucking
Just
like,
accept it.
You can
dude.
like
Yeah.
Star Trek. That's fine. I
Take the L.
I fuck with Chris Pine, right? Like I'm cool with it, but like Star Wars is just cooler.
Yeah,
That's all I'm
definitely.
saying.
I've never even I've seen the first Star Trek movie, the J.J. Abrams one, but I don't think I've ever watched anything other than
haven't
that,
seen
like
No,
Star
yeah.
Trek was.
Any of it.
I did so I can say all this because my dad and sister are Trekkies. But my
Nerds.
dad,
Bros.
fucking nerds. No, but so like my dad would like have the original show on, like with William Shatner, and right. I've seen like a few here and there, and it's cool because it's 100% different than Star Wars. It's very like the only similarity is that it's in space.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But like Star Trek is literally just like our future, like
Right.
you know, it's like Earth once we're like actually exploring space. But you know, I feel like that would be, it could be healthy, right?
Yeah.
To be like, to bring that rivalry back of like,
I mean, I think it's better than us fighting each other.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
Like,
saying.
I would
like
rather
focus
fight,
it somewhere.
like,
Star Trek
funnel
just
it
doesn't have
somewhere
enough
else.
juice. Like like I said, I've never even heard about Star Trek on social media or like seen any accounts really.
There's a bunch of Star Wars fans right now that are like obsessed with like the Picard show.
Oh really?
And I'm like,
there is newer shows.
Like
you
level.
Fucking traitors.
Yeah.
What is this?
Ridiculous.
Oh my god. But I mean, it's just an idea.
Just an idea.
Just bring it,
For a while,
like Anchorman, let's meet at the back alley.
Yeah.
Bring all your weapons.
Where'd you get a hand grenade?
Showdown.
Exactly.
For a while, it was Marvel. Like Star Wars and Marvel were kind of competing around like Infinity War times, you know, and like it was like, is Thanos cooler than Darth Vader and or more badass or whatever? But yeah, that kind of died off, and I mean Marvel kind of died off a little bit too. But I agree,
especially now.
Yeah.
All right. So back to the question that I kind of prompted at the beginning. Okay. And since we're kind of on the topic,
I like The Last Jedi.
Yeah. No, but I was gonna ask before we get to that, what has been the craziest like Star Wars take you've had like thrown at you, like on your page that you've seen? Maybe not directed to you, but you've seen, like, how you like see people fighting in your comments.
Yeah. Oh man, that is tough.
You're like I got a lot of those.
So many.
I know there's a lot.
I don't know. That is really tough. That Revenge of the Sith is good.
Yo.
No, I'm just kidding. Oh man, I don't know. That is really tough.
I know we can come back to it.
The Last Jedi is good.
Yeah, I might have to sit with that one for because there's stuff that obviously I don't agree with. That,
of course.
But I'm trying to think of something like crazy that people have said. Like,
I'll let you like think about it. I'll tell you my story because it's just wild. Mm-hmm. So one time we went to Disneyland. This was like, I think this was in between Force Awakens and Last Jedi. And we both had like Star Wars shirts on. We were like whatever nerds.
Well,
excited.
we had like our pins.
Oh, that's right.
Or we were pin trading or something.
We were like pin trading. I think we had like our Star Wars like lanyard on. Mm-hmm. And we started talking to like these two cast members, and I don't even know what we were talking about, but like we were just talking about Star Wars. And the cast member goes, "Yeah, I don't know. George Lucas kind of like ruined Star Wars." And I was literally like at this guy, like my jaw dropped. I was like, what kind of fucking opinion is George Lucas ruined Star Wars? Like,
that's awful.
He is Star Wars. Like, what do you mean?
I mean,
like,
I guess
what?
I guess were they meaning like the prequels, like ruining?
Maybe, but he didn't like expand. He was just like out of nowhere. His like opinion on Star Wars, like his general opinion was that George Lucas ruined it.
Hey, at least he sticks to his guns.
Right?
I was like, okay. Bye.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like the craziest thing I have ever heard actually kind of related to that. Have you guys seen that music video that's like from when the Phantom Menace came out? I think they're like George Lucas ruined my childhood or something like that. Yeah, they're like.
Raped.
Yeah. They're like, it's like George Lucas raped my child. It's like, dude,
holy
what are you
shit.
talking about?
It's rough. It's a rough watch.
Yeah,
it's not fun.
Yeah,
see what I mean? Like those, that's like
that type of stuff is wild.
You're like, maybe you need to take a step back, cool off.
Being sorted by morons. Their education is so limited.
No.
Yeah, people have interesting opinions. I mean, everyone is entitled to their opinion.
Oh, my favorite take, and this was recent. This was on Twitter, and it was someone trying to defend the fucking dagger from Rise, and because like people are like, oh, it's stupid, like like right, and this guy was trying to defend it, and his take was Star Wars has always been stupid.
That was
I was like,
I mean.
What? I mean, it's silly. Silly. It can be like it's been silly, but I wouldn't say
not like
stupid.
Doesn't make sense or like
And like he used that to defend it.
Like what? It's like no, Star Wars has always been, and then because that like intrigued me, and I was like, okay, I want to see like what he has to say, right?
Let's open this.
So I was like, let's see. And because I was like, maybe he expands and it makes sense.
Yeah. Just stopped right there.
No, well, he said that was like a single tweet, and then he like kept responding to people, and he goes, "Yeah, Chewbacca is stupid. He's just like some big furry guy that flies a plane." I was like, "What?"
That's
he flies a plane.
The plane, bro. And I'm like, What?
You're like, what movie did you watch? Because
like,
I don't think we're on the same page.
Yeah, and pretty
here.
much just like starts calling like all the coolest shit
Everything.
from Star Wars
Yeah.
like stupid. And I'm
like
like,
quirky, yes.
okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But,
Silly,
silly.
goofy.
Yeah.
But like,
because it always
Stupid.
has been. Like it's
Stupid has a
Stupid.
very negative
Yeah.
connotation
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's funny.
But
Somebody the other day said Rogue One was like the worst Star Wars movie. And I was like, what are you
enough.
talking about?
Stop it.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
It is interesting though, seeing
These takes.
these takes.
Oh.
It's entertaining.
I've heard it all. And
I'm sure.
it doesn't get any better, honestly. It's only getting worse. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, something that really confused me was Mando season 3. Like,
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. It was awesome. Like, obviously it has flaws and whatnot,
Yeah.
but like people were hating on Mando season 3, and
Yeah.
that was kind of just like, I can kind of expect it now. You know, when I'm watching something for the first time, I'm like, oh, people are gonna hate that. You know,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
with Obi-Wan, there was a couple points where I was like, people are gonna talk shit on that.
Yeah.
That specific.
You know.
Leia,
Yeah, you know.
Leia getting chased by those guys automatically. I was
Immediately,
like,
yeah.
somebody's gonna call
Okay,
that out.
that makes me crazy because I'm like, people are like, it was like silly, it was goofy. You want to see a super realistic version of a little girl getting kidnapped?
Yeah.
Like, what is wrong with you?
Some of these guys are sick. You
They're
know?
like, that's such a crazy
Some. I know.
opinion.
Yeah, some of them.
That's
yeah.
such a crazy opinion to be like, it wasn't
Yeah.
realistic enough. Do you know what it looks like to kidnap a little girl? Like,
Yeah.
Bruh.
They
what are
probably
you
do.
like? What are you saying?
Yeah. And there's just so many examples of that type of stuff
Yeah.
in Star Wars. That,
I feel like, unfortunately, this is just like, you can't really get around this, but because people are so passionate about Star Wars, break down every second of everything that comes out, people look at it too closely. They look at it too closely, and they lose like the magic of it, like the story.
Yeah.
Because they're so focused. Well, I didn't like how that alien looked.
Yeah, it's like,
You're not supposed to be
Yeah.
focusing on the alien in the background. You're supposed to be
agree.
focusing on the dialogue that's right in front of you.
I agree,
You know, so like
definitely.
that's just something that, like, you know, you can't really get around.
People
need to take a step back.
to be gone over with a fine tooth comb. And like when you watch it as a
Exactly.
kid, like with the prequels, we weren't looking for that type of stuff. We weren't
Yeah.
looking at it from a critical perspective about
Exactly.
pacing, and you know, it was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
holy shit,
exactly.
Mace Windu's got a purple lightsaber. You know,
Yeah.
like that type of stuff still happens in Star Wars. But I've kind of like been saying this recently, like, your adult brain now is processing Star Wars as an adult, but it's kind of meant to be
Yes.
for kids.
Star
and
Wars is for kids.
It's viewed
It's
from a
fantasy.
kid's perspective. And for
Yeah.
me, I don't want to feel like an adult when I'm watching Star Wars. I want to keep
Exactly.
feeling like a kid, and it makes me excited and
Yeah.
happy, you know, like
Yeah.
it's like kind of corny, but like that's the feeling that I want to keep going. I don't want it Star
Yeah.
Wars, like Andor kind of made me feel like, man, this is like kind of stressful. And like, you
Yeah.
know, like it was more adult than Star Wars has ever been. I do really like Andor. We started watching it like a month ago or so.
Yeah.
And it's really good. Like it's
Yeah.
awesome. I watched it first, but she never watched it, and it's really good, but it is different
The tone,
completely.
yeah.
It's like so
Like,
much more.
are you enjoying it?
I like it.
Yeah. It's like an HBO show.
It is. It's like a
Yeah.
drama. It's like a real drama. It's like critical acclaim type, you know, project.
Yeah.
Where Star Wars Book of Boba Fett is a completely different tone than Andor, you know, like.
Very different.
But the Book of Boba Fett made me feel like a little kid, and I was so excited to watch the
Yeah.
next episode. Where with Andor, I was kind of like, all right, here we go.
Time to be
like,
depressed
Yeah.
again.
like
Yeah.
I would say this is the energy.
Oh my god.
Star Wars.
No, it's time for bed.
Dad, I want Star Wars.
Watch Star Wars tomorrow, okay?
I want Star Wars.
Oh
No.
my god.
I just want Star Wars.
It's time for night.
literally
nights.
me every day.
Star Wars.
No, come watch it tomorrow.
I just want Star Wars.
We want to watch it tomorrow, okay?
I just want Star Wars.
Oh.
No, he's gonna.
I'm sorry, it's time for bed.
Please.
Come on, let's go night nights. Come on. Yes,
No.
it's time for night nights.
No.
The dad is giving Sith energy. Give that kid in Star Wars.
Oh my
That
god.
kid hates the EU.
Right, yeah.
Oh my god.
No, but I think that digesting Star Wars how we used to when we were first introduced to it, that's definitely like, I've never put it into words, but I feel like that's definitely how I always try to go into it, right?
Yeah.
Like with an open mind.
Yeah, with an open and just having fun. Like there's no point to be like, all right, let's get into this, you know, critically.
I hate that I've really felt a physical shift into like anyone that makes content around Star Wars now thinks they're a movie critic.
Oh, Jesus.
That makes me crazy because I'm there's definitely a time and place for that, but it's not in the everyday fan.
Yeah.
It is the people who do that for a living. And not that like you can't, like obviously you can give like a critique, but that shouldn't be every single time you comment something, or like when you watch it, you shouldn't be like, here's a like checklist of like, oh, were there enough aliens? Yes. Like like was the pacing good? Was the
pacing.
the cameos? Did I like the cameos? Was it too many cameos? Was it not enough cameos? Just watch it.
The cinematography and just like
it's
people go overkill with it for sure.
And they don't even know what the fuck they're talking about.
Exactly.
And it takes away from their experience.
Exactly.
I'm not like complaining that I have to listen to them. That's not at all what I'm saying. I mean like for
don't
their
get to
sake,
enjoy it.
they don't enjoy it because they're not watching it as it's meant to be told.
Yeah. And I mean, it's so funny because so many like Disney haters, sequel haters, are like George Lucas fanatics. When George said Star Wars is for kids, he made it for family, for kids. Like, it just doesn't make sense to like be so serious about it. And, like, you can not like things. There's been plenty of things that I'm like, that's whatever. But I just focus on the next thing that I like. Like, you know, it's just. But people, it's hard. I think it's hard for people to have that perspective and just move on from something versus having to put that opinion out there every time I post about the sequels. It can just be something plainly appreciative, not asking your opinion or any questions, and people are like, sequels are trash, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, I didn't ask if they were good or not, dude. Like, go find a Return of the Jedi post to comment on, you know? Like,
literally.
Yeah.
I think they have your post notifications on
just
so
they can.
For
like,
you
this
to
motherfucker's
post
tweeting about The Last Jedi again.
Yeah.
Get him.
Yeah.
Their pitchforks.
Yeah.
Oh my god. No, I think, you know, we'll see. I mean, I feel like it's just as simple as like, you know, everyone has their opinions. Yeah. And it's like, you don't have to agree, but at least understand.
Yeah.
Respect other people's
Yeah.
It's like, you don't have to.
Yeah.
And it's literally a quote, a Star Wars quote. The text says it to Crosshair. He's like, I don't have to agree with you to understand you. And it's like, that's as simple as that. Like,
I don't like it. I don't agree with it, but I respect it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
there's so many. That's one thing that I really find funny too. Is obviously there's so many lessons in Star Wars. Like, gives you sort of a moral compass, especially when you watch it as a kid, growing up, and like I got a lot of my own like good versus evil, knowing when something's bad or wrong. Like I got that from Star Wars.
Literally.
To let go of hate and those sort of things. Like honestly, those things stuck with me. Like even to being an adult. And then you see people just constantly being angry or
people that
like,
completely missed the
you're
point.
Anakin. You're Anakin, dude. Like in Revenge of the Sith, like you can't let it go. Like
you've become the very thing you swore to destroy.
Dude. It's
like what?
You didn't listen to anything Yoda said. That's for sure.
None of it.
Yeah.
So that's a really funny thing to me.
It is.
I almost bring that up every day. I'm like, you really learned from the movies, didn't you, bud? Like
same. No, yeah.
You're
same.
not wrong.
I'm like, did you pay attention?
Yeah.
Did you watch the same movie?
Yeah.
Anyway, but I mean, we could talk all day about the state of the fandom. Yeah. But I mean, it is what it is. Hopefully, it gets better.
It's only downhill.
It is.
It's not getting better.
After 8 years, I'm gonna say.
You'd think it would be good by now, but
They wanna wonder.
Just wait for the Rey movie.
Oh, dude, I'm sure that'll be fun.
God.
Gosh.
Are you excited for that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for
what,
any.
What do you think? What do you think will be like the focus in that?
Well, I've heard already that Kathleen, KK has been, saying that the new Jedi Order is kind of like hectic or something like that, and Rey's obviously like the grandmaster of it. And there's a lot of ways I feel like they can go with it,
Yeah.
you know. And like John Boyega has said he's been done with Star Wars, but I feel like, you know, they're like, here's a bag, bro, and he'll come back. So I feel like Rey and Finn are going to be a big part of that. And I don't know. I'm excited though. I think it should be fun.
I'm excited too. I'm excited because I feel like it's gonna set up the future. Right.
Yeah.
The future
it is crazy. Like we keep playing in this 50, 60 year, maybe it's 100-year period. You know, from Phantom Menace to Rise of Skywalker. But there's so much on either end of that. They're starting to go with the High Republic and going backwards, but it is cool to think about the future and maybe Grogu playing into that.
Exactly.
I hope Grogu's in it somehow.
I think he will.
I think that he's gonna be like. I think that the smart move is to have him in the Rey movie, where she and or Finn train Grogu, and for a little bit at least, because he's definitely gonna go back to the Jedi at some point. Because
Mando's gonna die, unfortunately.
Exactly.
Sad.
And like a 10th of his lifespan.
Yeah.
So
and he's so powerful too. Like he's so powerful.
Yeah.
Exactly. And Din can't teach him how to control that or understand it.
Yeah.
So it's like at some point he's gonna make his way back to the Jedi.
Yeah.
And I feel like it would be very smart for them to have them in that movie.
Yeah. Well, they're not gonna let go of Grogu. Like,
oh no,
he's their
how much
money
merch
maker,
are they gonna make for that?
They can keep making content for the next 900 years for
Literally,
Grogu,
just
you know?
Literally.
And I mean, he is a cool character. I really like Grogu.
Yeah.
He's like, he's more than just. I hate when people say that. It's like he's just there for toy sales. It's like, no, he's actually like a really cool, important character in Star Wars now.
He was very well thought out.
Well done, and like,
Yeah.
it is annoying when people say. I mean, they do go overboard with how much Grogu stuff there is.
Yeah,
but I love when I'm like in Target or something, you hear like a little kid like Grogu, like it just warms my heart that little kids like that, and that's their entry point to Star Wars.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, Grogu's got to be involved at some point.
I think he will be. I think the smart move is like a trilogy or a single film. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like just hundreds of years down the future, where he's the leader of the new Jedi Order.
Yeah.
Where he's both Jedi and Mandalorian.
Yeah.
It's like,
that would be sick.
That would be fucking awesome.
Well, they made it kind of seem like he is the Mandalorian that will be able to, control both sides and bring everybody together. When he breaks up Axe Woves and Paz when they're fighting or whatever. And I think Bo-Katan is like, nobody can step in, and stop this. Like they have to fight out. And Grogu's the one that stops them. It kind of is like foreshadowing, like.
I think you're right. Yeah. Definitely.
That would be cool.
It would be very sad. But I think if we got, like, you're saying, like, a movie of Grogu, like, a couple hundred years in the future, but then we get, like, a flashback of, like, Din's death.
Yeah.
That would be
so sad.
Like, so sad, but, like, so moving because one of the biggest parts of Jedi's training and like their way of life is letting go. Right.
Especially if like their master.
Exactly. Like letting
and
go.
This is his dad.
Yeah.
Accepting death as a part of life.
Yeah.
I think that would be a phenomenal story for Grogu. For sure. To tell it's in the future, but there's flashbacks because literally all of Star Wars happens because Anakin can't let go.
Yeah.
Like the prequels are him not letting go of his mother's death, of Qui-Gon's death, of his life as a slave.
Eventual death.
Exactly, Padme. Like even before he loses someone, he's upset. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's that, and then the original trilogy is Vader not letting go of Obi-Wan. And Vader not letting go of that he's not the one in charge, and then his son, and like, right? So there's all this stuff about like attachment. And even Luke with like his friends, like he was like, no, I have to go, I have to save them, and Yoda's like, you're not ready, you're gonna die. He's like, I don't care, I can't lose them, right? So there's always been this theme of attachment. I think Grogu could tell a really, really moving story from that perspective of like losing his dad,
the
and
only
like
person that's ever protected you.
Heartbreaking.
Like so sad, but like so good.
I think it would be
so good.
I think it'd be a good story for maybe a novel.
Yeah.
So that we don't have to see it.
That'd be tough to watch.
It would be a tough watch.
Yeah.
For sure.
But like it would be so good.
It would it
would be good. Yeah. I really hope they I love the shows and the fact that we do get to like watch Star Wars weekly, but
Yeah.
I really like, these big moments in the Star Wars history to be like on the movie screen,
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I hope they save that sort of stuff for movies and not the shows,
I think,
Yeah.
I think they would.
I
I
mean,
hope.
yeah.
Look,
I hope.
it could be even as soon as the Dave's Mando movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could
That
be.
is
That
true.
is true.
We
An
don't know.
epic ending, Mando like sacrifices himself or something.
That'd be
Yeah.
crazy.
Oh man.
Honestly,
I mean, it could have happened in the last season.
I've never pictured Mando living a full life. Like since his introduction, I've never expected him to be like this old
guy,
man with gray hair, like sitting on the porch.
Yeah.
Like there's no way that's gonna be the end of his story.
Well,
I want it to be, but like Star Wars is very sad.
Yeah. And it's so funny, like when you think about how much danger some of these characters are constantly in. They just keep surviving.
It's a miracle.
like,
Well, he should have died like 5 times in season 1. Like,
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I know
easily.
Grogu saved his life like 10 times by now at least.
Yeah.
For sure.
The Mudhorn.
Yeah.
Mudhorn, the fire.
The fucking time
Yeah.
he fell off of the freaking sand crawler.
Yeah.
Oh my!
He
That
should have
should have
died
killed
there.
him. That for sure should have killed him. Yeah.
Oh my god.
The one movie I'm really interested is the
Dawn of the Jedi.
Dawn of the Jedi. Like I'm just like that is so far removed and can be completely just different than anything that's ever been done. And
I think that's gonna be really
One
good.
of my favorite parts of Star Wars has always been like the religious aspect of it, like with the Force, the kyber crystals, all like the metaphysical stuff. And I think they're just gonna like run wild with it in Dawn of the Jedi because it's like the first time they're
James Mangold.
they're understanding the Force and like it's just like the Dawn of the Jedi. It's such a cool concept.
Yeah, it's like almost like you don't even know. I don't know what to expect with it, and like.
But that's what's so
Well,
good
I don't know
about
if
it.
you
Like
saw
you're saying,
this.
it's so removed.
Yeah.
That they have so much.
So they can't
like,
go wrong. Kinda.
Exactly. They
Yeah.
can't like.
There's no Luke Skywalker to mess up or.
Yeah. So I don't know if you saw this, but this is him kind of giving a little bit of a synopsis of like the feel of his of the movie. Okay, maybe.
Years before.
Hey, that's my post right there.
Oh yeah.
You're hearing it takes place 25,000 years before Episode 4, and it's about. I mean, what I said. It's about the discovery of the Force. It's a kind of. I told Kathy I wanted to make a kind of Bible movie, a kind of 10 Commandments of Star Wars, of kind of a Cecil B. DeMille film about the arrival of the Force, and so that's what I've been pecking away at when between press events and the, but that's kind of the idea, is just kind of a movie that both connects to the world we know, but is also far enough away from it that I think there's a lot of opportunities to tell a story freely. Also, and not be so incredibly tied in knots by all the different story strands that have already been set in place. You're hearing it take.
Yeah.
Yeah, he knows who you're talking about.
Yeah.
No,
he's in there already. He said Kathy, so he's really in.
Yeah, they're on a first name nickname basis.
Yeah.
Right there.
No,
Very
that's
casual.
Cool. That's cool.
No, yeah, what's cool is a lot of things that were introduced in the Dawn of the Jedi comics have already been making their way into canon through Mando.
Yeah.
So like Typhon, that was first introduced in Dawn of the Jedi.
Really?
The Rakatan, like what they like name drop the Rakatan race. The species in Andor with the crystal that he gives Cassian. Like also Knights of the Old Republic, Dawn of the Jedi era stuff. So it's like they're already kind of like
setting some little seeds up. Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if they straight up just ripped the comics and made them into a movie. Well, which I'm sure it's not going to be like that. But I'm already expecting
it's influenced.
To be heavily influenced by those.
Yeah.
Did you ever read those?
I've read one or two. I'm sure here and there, but no, I don't know like the full story.
It's fine. It's definitely one of my favorite comic series because of that very feel that he's talking about.
Just like so far removed.
Exactly.
And its own deal. Yeah, that's cool.
Because it shows the Jedi at their infancy, right?
Yeah.
Like the
they
very
don't
beginning.
have it figured out.
So pretty much that first issue, it kind of shows like that point where they're like figuring shit out, and they pretty much all these it's a long story short, but all these Force sensitives go to Tython. They're pretty much gathered and they're taken to Tython by these like giant pyramids that just no one knows where they came from. They just kind of started going around to all the different systems and planets, picking up Force sensitives from all the different species, and they took them to Tython. And they're like kind of they're like, I don't know why the fuck we're here, but we're here. And pretty much the planet itself had to have a balance of both light and dark side energy, or else it would physically like get destroyed. So there would be like earthquakes and storms and shit. So it's like the people on the planet had to keep a balance of both light and dark for it to keep the peace.
Yeah.
So so eventually you see, like, as the comic goes on, you see them once they've kind of like figured their shit out, and they teach exactly like what the Jedi that we see in like the prequels strayed so far away from,
right?
Where they're literally teaching how to balance
the
your
perfect
inner
light and dark.
So you accept the dark, but you learn how to understand it and keep it at bay.
You don't fear it.
You don't fear it. Exactly.
I feel like that's kind of where they're going, maybe towards with the Rey story as well. Like
where it should.
Yeah, like a lot of the newer characters past the original trilogy, they do kind of have to use the dark side a little bit, and they accept it and sort of work with it rather than like completely push it out like the prequel Jedi do, because it's not realistic. Like, if you say you use the dark side one time and then you're a Sith or something like that, like, it's just you're going to be a Sith. Yeah,
it's an absolute.
Exactly.
It's like
exactly.
They're contradicting themselves.
Exactly.
Right? So it's like I'm very excited to see.
That's gonna be cool. That's gonna be super cool.
It's gonna be.
And I don't know too much of his stuff, but I know he's like a pretty good filmmaker.
Yeah, he did Logan.
Logan,
He did Logan. That was an amazing movie.
Such a good movie.
I think he's gonna do a really, really great job with it. And then just like the influences he's talking about, like a Ten Commandments of Star Wars. Like, Jesus, that's like one of the best movies ever.
Yeah.
So it's like, so he's definitely got good influences, coming into it. So I'm like, I have high hopes for it, and the Rey movie too.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's gonna be really good.
Same. Yeah.
And then we'll see about the Dave Filoni movie too.
Ooh,
because we'll see. I mean,
Filoniverse.
The Filoniverse.
Check the top left.
Right? This one.
Ooh, look at that.
This
is that.
This is the one we used when all the news came out.
Woo!
Dude, we're so excited for that. Yeah, look at this shit. Oh.
Yeah, I totally just ripped a comic picture. People are like, "Oh, dude, that looks awesome!" Like, it's like 25 years old.
No, dude. Yeah, we've got a lot of cool shit coming. Like Skeleton Crew, I'm sure is gonna be awesome. It's gonna be like all pirates, right? From what I've heard.
Yeah,
like
and they're
pirate
like,
themed.
There's like a whole group of kids involved with it, but they're saying it's like not a kid show. But I'm sure
it's like Goonies.
I'm sure
that's like the vibe I'm getting is Goonies, or maybe they're trying to go with a Stranger Things sort of vibe with kids. And,
maybe
I don't know, but I mean, it sounds cool.
I'm sure it'll be cool. I mean, if you're saying Stranger Things vibes, like if Stranger Things could make it cool, and not for kids,
exactly.
I'm sure it'll be awesome.
I'm excited for Acolyte. That looks
Same.
People are. It's already happening, like with the wokeness of it,
God.
and there's gonna be gay people in it. Like, oh my god, no, like.
Squeeze me.
It's
that's
so
gonna be
stupid.
rough. Like, it's gonna be rough with some of the woke things that I don't even know how to explain it without being offensive to one side. But
I mean, at this point, it's like, what does it matter?
Yeah, like, there's gonna be powerful women in it. There's
course.
gonna be just all different types of. It's gonna be more High Republic vibes to it, and I know I can hear the complaints already, but I bet you it's
like
gonna be
then
sick.
just don't watch it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
Exactly.
There's
literally,
people who are
it's
already
not that
commenting on that,
serious.
but they'll be there first thing when that episode drops to watch it.
Dude, there's people like we'll be after I think it was like Book of Boba or Kenobi. We would be obviously we stayed up till midnight to watch them.
Yeah.
go on Twitter immediately, people, oh, that was mid.
Yeah.
I'm like, why are you watching it the second it comes out?
Yeah.
Literally.
And then you're like, that's
You
mid.
can't sleep at night because
There's
you're
just this
so
like
upset.
need to be involved in the conversation about it and to put your opinion out there, and it's just like, dude, not everybody is qualified to be talking about this stuff.
Literally.
You know,
The ability to speak does not make you
there you go.
intelligent.
That's right.
Yeah.
A bunch of Jar Jars running around out there.
You should just respond with that.
Yeah, you sound like Jar Jar, bro.
Like Jar Jar.
Bunch of fucking.
Wolf milker.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yep.
No, I think Acolyte is gonna be very. I mean, when have we ever gotten like a Sith-centric story?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, other than a book or a
Other- yeah.
comic,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
not on screen for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's going to be so many Jedi, and it's like they use lightsabers and Jedi like in such a small amount of the content now because it's like the special points. Like
Yeah.
the stories that they're coming out with now aren't focused on the Jedi, so we only get like a flashback with Grogu or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is gonna be Jedi, Sith,
Yeah,
like
all out.
full on
Yeah.
lightsabers everywhere. I think it's
Yeah.
gonna be sick.
Yeah.
No, yeah. I'm excited from all the notes that I've read on this and everything. It's giving like heavy like Darth Bane trilogy vibes.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
heavy.
I think Plagueis has got to be in it somehow, like
He could.
or Palpatine. No, maybe that's
No.
too far back.
Plagueis or Plagueis' master.
Plagueis is
What
master,
era
yeah.
Because this
is
is this
It's
is
like
like
100 years before the
100?
Phantom Menace. Yeah.
Okay, so then
Oh, then, yeah.
most likely Plagueis.
Plagueis, yeah. Palpatine would be a baby, maybe. No.
Yeah.
What's cool too is like with the holocrons, you can kind of get around anything.
True.
You know?
That's
Yeah.
true.
Like
yeah.
you could go back 1,000 years.
Yo, what if there's
with
like a
holocron.
Sith holocron that they
Yeah.
use and Revan pops up?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like
Dude.
That'd be
it's
so
not
sick.
it's not forced. It's not like a cameo. It's like, well, that's how they
It just makes sense.
pass down their
Can I
teaching.
just I just say that I think my biggest fucking like gripe with like the state of the fandom is the fan service. Like
Yeah.
Oh my god,
It's
that
like,
makes me
You're a
crazy.
fan and you don't want to be serviced, or you
Yeah.
want
Yeah,
it to
you-
be completely not what you want it to be. Like
where
that's
else
so weird.
are we supposed to see Star Wars characters
Yeah.
other than Star Wars?
Yeah.
Or any or like just certain elements. Like,
Yeah.
it's like
And like that,
what?
the thing with Mando, like people saying that Mando was its own story in the first season, it was completely self-contained. Like season 2 brought in all these cameos, and it's like, no, it wasn't. Grogu was a Jedi, like from the second episode. Like it's connected to Star Wars from the very beginning. It's not like this completely offshoot series. You know, Mando. It's like showing how Mando is now ushered into like this galactic story and important to the whole Star Wars story. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's funny because like if you truly pay attention to the story, you notice season 1 Mando, he's just like he's a lowlife.
Yeah,
he's like a bounty hunter.
Yeah, he's like
working
not a very good dude.
No,
like,
he's
Yeah.
not. He's like
living-
he's like in the
selfish.
Yeah.
in the underworld,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And by season 2, he is now stepping into a larger galaxy.
Yeah.
Right? He's stepping into like the main conflict
Yeah.
against the Imperial
Empire,
remnants and shit like
Yeah.
that. So it's like, of course it's gonna make sense that he's gonna run into certain characters like Bo-Katan, who's fighting to rebuild Mandalore.
And also a Mandalorian.
And
you know,
also
yeah.
a Mandalorian.
Yeah,
Jesus.
it would be weird if it didn't like
Yeah, no, it's just
fit into the bigger
Yeah.
picture.
I mean, we have a little Yoda. Like, there's not that many of them. He's got to be connected somehow in some way. Like,
I'm still rooting for Yoda and Yaddle had
they were smashing for
They
sure.
God.
He's like, I mean,
There's only one of me.
What do you know?
Oh my god.
Obi-Wan.
no, yeah,
I like that comment right there, but I thought Star Wars was dead.
Dude, so many people are like, Star Wars is dead. So I was like, you're out of your mind.
You're in another world.
Yeah,
you're in
what are you
that
talking
other
about?
like multiverse of your own YouTube video like logic.
I
Exactly.
mean, it's like the fact that you're commenting on
A
a
Star Wars
Star
page.
Wars page
Yeah.
saying that it's dead is
Yeah.
like,
And it's like
while like 15 shows are
yeah,
coming out.
wait, I'm confused.
Star Wars is literally more alive than it's ever been. Like, I hate to admit that. Other than maybe like right when it came out, when it was a global phenomenon.
Yeah.
After that point, this is the most popular Star Wars has ever been. It's everywhere. Every
Like,
store you walk
everywhere.
into, there's Star Wars merch.
Yeah.
Even 7-Eleven, there's like Grogu's and stuff. And, like,
the Grogu Uno cards. And
yeah,
shit.
it's everywhere. Like,
You can't escape.
you cannot escape Grogu, that's for sure. But it is an interesting. I mean, I think people just live in their own like
They
echo
must.
chamber
No, they
of
must,
YouTube
because
videos.
there's
You know,
no way to like.
People believe their own lies, and it's like, okay,
yeah, I
it's
mean,
obvious.
Kathy's getting fired soon. So,
Oh yeah, I heard about like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Since she's
She's actually a robot that they put in there.
my.
It's a long
They actually
She's a
killed the real
lizard.
Kathleen Kennedy
Oh,
5
yeah.
years ago when The Last Jedi came out.
She's more machine now than
Oh.
Yeah, she's
my
Darth Vader.
God.
she's Darth Vader.
Stop.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh jeez. Oh, did you watch Visions, by the way?
Oh, I'm not done with it. I have like 3 or 4 left. There's so much Star Wars
No,
now that like
it's a full-time job.
we've been
just watching.
we've been grinding Clone Wars because she's never seen Clone Wars before. Well, she's never seen a lot of Star Wars so far, but
I mean,
Yeah.
there's a
She's-
lot. There's
she's
a lot.
There
becoming
is a
a-
lot. There's 40 years worth,
yeah.
so you're good.
She's becoming pretty into it, and I feel like knowledgeable about it. But we're like season 4 of Clone Wars now, and it's getting good. Like it's getting really good. But need to watch Visions though, all of them. The first like 5 are pretty good. I liked them. Like that one right there, the dark head one.
That
I was like
favorite.
Ooh, that was so sick. Like the art style, and I take a whole series on that one.
For sure.
Like,
That I think that one had the most like I say Star Warsy as in like core of it, right?
There's a Jedi Council.
Yeah,
and,
like that.
That
like
was
the,
super
the
cool.
pull of the dark side from like the Sith
Mm-hmm.
towards I forget his name, but the Jedi. Like I love like very Luke and Vader, you know, vibe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I that was definitely my favorite. That one, and then we both loved Screecher's Reach.
That one was sick. That one was super cool.
Definitely like the darkest Star Wars. I've
Yeah, it
seen,
was like
was
kind of
really
scary.
screen.
Like
Yeah. But so all like the folklore and like all that was so cool.
Yeah.
And the animation I really liked too, like the style.
I liked how this season was different animation styles and studios from across the world, not just anime. Like that was pretty cool. I did like the anime first season.
Yeah.
All those were pretty good.
Yeah.
But it's just like the different flavors of animation that we got.
Yeah.
Pretty cool this
No,
season.
yeah,
awesome.
that's very cool. I do like that the first season was cool because it was all Japanese studios because it's like, well, Star Wars pulled so much
influenced. Yeah.
from Japanese culture.
Yeah.
But it's like, I like exactly like that now. It's from all over the world.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the dudes that made like Wallace and Gromit made.
I love that.
That's so
I
cool.
love
Like
that.
I like that when, you know, obviously there's so many filmmakers I'm sure that are Star Wars fans and Star Wars inspired them. The fact that like these smaller studios get to like work on a Star Wars project, that must be
really
so
cool.
fun for them.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah,
It's like
dude.
dream come true.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like something they probably never expected they'd be able to work
they
on.
made Star Wars. Like,
Exactly.
That's super cool.
Exactly. And I feel like in this season especially they did an amazing job at a balance between introducing their own like cultural influences into Star Wars, but also keeping it like it feels like it's always been there, like it's always been part of the galaxy, right? It's
like
it's
it
not,
could just be on some offshoot planet that, you know, we don't know about yet. Yeah. These ones did feel like they weren't like couldn't be not canon.
Exactly.
Like they could be, I feel like. So yeah. I liked it. I heard they're doing season 3, so I hope they do.
I hope so too. We'll see. Manny was talking about a potential, like if they do a Mexican studio, animation studio.
Oh yeah.
What was the idea?
So either someone who owns a cantina and like just hears all the banter, or you know, like Pancho Villa, so it has the bandolier. It could be a bounty hunter.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Kind of going after.
That'd be sick.
Or wanted, it's like, or cantina again reference, but he's in like a band, like a mariachi, but not that type of music. But his instrument turns into a blaster, and he just goes to different cantinas and hunts.
Give him a Star Wars movie.
So many ideas.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. I am excited to see like what parts of the world they like decide to give it to next, because I do like that. I like the fact that they're giving these studios from all over the world a chance to like bring a little bit of their culture into because like that's fucking awesome. It's a galaxy, of course. There's gonna be.
What's so cool too is like it just speaks to how Star Wars is a universal story.
Yeah,
like everyone on Earth can relate to the themes in Star Wars.
Yeah,
and it's so cool to see like the different cultures, because in Star Wars we see so many different like planets and other cultures, like alien cultures, but to see it from like our own culture on Earth, it's really cool. I really like it.
And it's cool. It feels like you get like all fans kind of interpret Star Wars or like cling to certain aspects of it more than others, and you kind of see those creators what aspects they like about Star Wars. Like some of them are more music focused or, you know, action focused, lightsabers and whatnot. Some of them are more like soulful about like like that one with the two sisters, and they're like the last people of their kind.
One?
That one was sick.
That one was really
I cried.
That was very
I'm pretty
emotional.
sure Kaylee did too. She was bawling her eyes out.
Dude, I cried.
That was a good one. That was really good. But it was like so different, like you know, but it didn't feel like it couldn't exist in Star Wars, like on some crazy planet, you know. So
I think that's what makes it so special, is like it's so art heavy. Like the art is the focus. That they just like I like that they're not canon, because it gives them the freedom to tell whatever story they want.
But they could be.
But it could be, like you're saying, like it could have happened. It doesn't conflict with anything that already exists. Yeah. So I love Visions.
Yeah,
I love it.
I think it's definitely one of the best ideas they've had for like a show. You know,
and there's just like no really like negatives to it. It's just like, I mean, people have talked crap on it, but it's like it's just for fun, and either you like it or you don't, and that's okay. But it's not like people don't get like up in arms about it, you know. It's nice to have a project like that where it's just, you know, like, just for fun, and people don't take it too seriously. People were saying, though, I was posting about it when it came out, like, why didn't they do it anime again? It doesn't make any sense. I'm like, what do you mean? Like
it's just animated.
It's just don't take it so seriously.
All right, so something I did want to talk about, because this just happened in between episodes, was so the Galactic Star Cruiser is closing. So that's
R.I.P.
Yeah, but we kind of saw it coming, right? Like,
I mean, that thing was definitely doomed from the start, just from the pricing, and
alone.
It didn't really look that amazing overall. Like, I mean, they had so many influencers go and check it out, stay there, and like none of it was like, oh my god, I need to go and do this. It was just very basic, and I'm sure it was cool.
Yeah, of course.
I'm sure
it's
it was
very
fun.
cool concept.
When they came out with it, I was like, whoa, that is pretty cool. But when seeing the finished product, I was kind of like, oh, what are they, like? Why did they do it like that?
I think the main issue, like from me, like obviously first is the price point, because it was like it
was like $5,000
for 2 days or something.
It was like $5,000 for 2 days for like 2 people, and like $6,000 for 3 people,
and it didn't include like alcohol, and I think it included food, but like nothing like extra. Like it's not like, oh, you get to build a lightsaber. Like nothing was like included.
Nothing cool.
And when I first saw it, I was like, okay, this is like fresh out of COVID, fresh out of quarantine. You want me to pay $6,000 to go stay in a room that's bunk beds and no windows with no natural light? That was literally hell. Like we experienced living in a box for how many months? And like
2 years.
I mean, like 2 years. So like the concept was really cool, but I think the timing was just not. It was just not.
That's fair.
Right.
I think that if they were gonna do it, and that obviously the same exact thing is it was just the price point. It's like chill out. It's like they wanted to make back all the money they lost during the pandemic with just that, and it's like
and like they say that like the main, like the reason it was so expensive was because like everyone was acting like all of the cast members were like performers
character.
pretty much. It wasn't like staff and then Rey and Kylo are performers. It's like
it was immersive.
the person that's picking up the like trash from the trash can is also like a character, which yes, that's cool. But that is extremely, extremely expensive.
Yeah.
You know, like
not
so
worth it, that's for sure.
It's not worth it, and it's unnecessary. Like not every single person has to be an actor
and like it just didn't,
for it to be immersive, you know?
It just didn't seem like there was enough stuff like to do or anything. There was I remember seeing that one Jedi challenge thing where you're like deflecting blaster bolts or something, and like
a training thing.
I don't really know anything
Pretty much,
else other than that. Like,
and then even that, it was just like flashlights being
it wasn't like super fun, or it didn't look like it at least. Like,
and look, obviously it's easy to shit on it because we didn't go.
Couldn't afford it.
but at the same time, it's like I'm not denying that I would have wanted to go. Right?
Definitely.
Like I would wanted to go, and like if it was at a better price point, we totally would have.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, I think if you're gonna do a Star Wars getaway like that, where it's all like inclusive, or it's like an experience. Like I get the Batuu is like in the sequel era, and it has nothing to do with which one's better. It's just, if you're gonna do that, make it OT. It's the most iconic, most recognizable out of any of the prequels, sequels, OT. Like OT, it's like Darth Vader versus Kylo Ren, right? Not who's fighting. It's just like someone
Vader's
from
like Grandpa would know who Darth Vader is.
Exactly.
Like if your family went.
I think that's a big L that they've taken overall with Batuu or Galaxy's Edge as well. Like, why did they have to try and make it like a canon location?
I don't
like
think,
there should be a Darth Vader section or like a there's like this one like art piece that shows a Star Wars. This exactly. Like, why didn't they do this? Where there's Tatooine and then there's the Death Star and then
this is literally like
this would be insane. I would go there. I would
live
pay
there.
extra money to go there. Whereas Galaxy's Edge is cool, but seeing the Falcon is probably the coolest thing about it. And that's kind of only one thing.
It really shouldn't be though. Like it shouldn't be the coolest thing.
And what's interesting is like they've kind of
Can you zoom out a little bit
broken that canon
more? There you go.
They've kind of broken the canon aspect where like now they have like Grogu and Mando walking around. They have Boba from like Book of Boba walking around, which is like I'm glad they're doing it, but I hate that they're like not saying that they're breaking canon. Like they're being weird about it. I'm like, it's not
the biggest thing.
You're not Disney, a failure. Just like change things that aren't working. It's okay.
And like they're limiting themselves obviously with the character. Like Darth Vader doesn't walk around, and
which he fucking should.
Yeah, exactly. Like
you kidding
people
me?
like Kylo Ren, but I mean people like Darth Vader more. And I mean, just imagine it was 50 different Star Wars characters walking around. That'd be so sick.
Well, look at obviously this is fake, right? This is fake. This is fan made, and this came out like around the time that we first started, right?
Yeah.
So it's like there's different sections. Like when you walk in, it's like Main Street is like Coruscant, which is so first of all fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And then there's like a Tatooine section where there's like bantha, which by the way on Batuu apparently there were supposed to be bantha rides through the park. So if you look on the floor, there's like bantha footprints, and there were supposed to be like bantha rides, but they there's like so much stuff that they haven't done yet that they were supposed to. But like, you know, they're like this is a little much, but like the Geonosis
arena.
You can fight the Acklay.
Exactly. And then there's like
fall
a
in the
Hoth
Sarlacc
section.
pit.
Like like totally like this they could have totally done this like the Matterhorn type of thing where it's like you're riding through Hoth like on a
tauntauns are popping out.
Exactly that. There's like a Cloud City like cool. Stratosphere type of thing. Endor, and then like on each one, I guess this is a different one, but so this is one that came out before I believe Disney bought Star Wars, but there's an updated one that's like canon, I guess. So I'll pull that one up so that we can also see that because it's pretty cool.
I mean, this would be insane.
So like it's pretty much the same thing. They just include like Octo, I think,
and like Star Killer Base.
That's cool.
It's not letting me zoom.
Taco Donna.
Yeah. So I guess I can't really zoom, but like these little stars here, it shows like where you can meet each character. So like on Tatooine, there's like Anakin as like a little boy, right?
Yeah.
And then Han Solo is by the docking bay, and
cool.
Leia or Han Solo in his Hoth outfit is over here on Hoth.
Yeah.
So is Leia. This can like interchange between the Death Star and Starkiller Base. Like this is just art again.
Yeah.
But imagine, fucking imagine.
Yeah.
I mean, you would think that like they would have went with something more like this, especially with Disneyland being like, you know, there's all these different lands and
exactly.
Like, it would fit the vibe, I feel like. And the fact that you can't take a picture with Han Solo in front of the Millennium Falcon is just ridiculous.
He's dead. He's dead in this freaking
I know.
like
It's funny. It's funny. It's funny explaining that to kids. Like, where's Han?
Oh, he's dead.
Oh, he's dead.
Remember when Kylo stabbed him in the chest? Yeah, that already happened.
Exactly. Okay, now I can zoom. But yeah, see, like, you can meet Anakin, old Ben, Luke, fucking Bib Fortuna.
Let's go. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, fat or skinny?
The fat one.
Yeah,
for sure.
gotta be the fat one.
Vader. Fucking imagine in front of the Death Star.
He's just standing on top of it. Dude.
Oh my God, he doesn't.
And the
come
rides,
down.
like, imagine just like how cool the rides would be.
Dude, this Jakku one.
Yeah.
Imagine that shit.
That's cool.
Riding through like the downed,
so cool.
like Ray's house.
Like like it's like the flight of the Falcon, like in the movie. Kinda.
That's right. Yeah, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah,
You're right.
That's
dude.
You can go watch Anakin get flamed in Mustafar. They just have an actor sitting there in the lava.
Crispy.
I hate you.
Oh my God. That'd be so traumatizing for a kid.
That's awesome.
Oh my God. And then like imagine if he had his starfighter was there.
Ooh.
Old Luke next to Octo.
That's cool.
Dude, a theater piece actually of the fight between Obi-Wan and
they could reenact that stuff. Yeah.
Dude, yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, I forgot this was here. There's like the ghost with like Ahsoka and Ezra.
Ooh.
That like imagine like this
I love the Django.
Just the head.
That's awesome.
Fucking fall to your death.
Yeah.
Like jeez.
Chops off your head right at the end.
Yeah. No, it's at the beginning, so it's just you don't feel the
You don't
fall.
even get to enjoy the ride.
Oh my God.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Obviously, this would have cost like $10 billion.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But you know, I feel like with how much money they've put into Batuu and like both, but they didn't just build one; they built two
of them. Yeah,
and the Halcyon. All of that combined, they could have done something like something like this. Maybe not this whole like vision, but
something similar. Maybe not as grand of a scale, but you could at least have Tatooine, Coruscant.
Oh yeah,
the few like major planets.
Yeah, because this is pretty much an entire
so
Disneyland.
Awesome.
Yeah,
it'd be hilarious. It's like, oh, politics simulator. Just sit here and stamp paperwork.
Oh my God.
Oh shit, I didn't even see this. So they added like a little coming soon section for Rogue One.
After
really
The Last
thought this
Jedi, they said,
And
I'm not making another one.
Oh my God.
Fun fact, Kaylee's dad actually helped build Galaxy's Edge in Disneyland.
Really?
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
My grandpa built Indiana Jones as well.
Really?
Yeah.
So you come from like a line of royalty.
Disney royalty.
Disney royalty. Damn. That's awesome.
Really cool.
Well, thank him for us because that's like one of the coolest.
He could have done a better job.
No. Hey, look, we love Batuu.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like,
it is cool.
It is really cool.
I wish there was
cool.
more.
Yeah,
but like
it was a little underwhelming. Like, it took me a couple of years to like actually go and do it, and like seeing the Falcon, I was like, holy shit, like this is awesome. But there was definitely like I was like, man, like I thought it was gonna be like cooler and more like Star Wars vibes, like not just an X-wing in the Millennium Falcon, you know.
I feel like they could have easily made it 10 times cooler if it wasn't like an original location.
Yeah.
You know, like if
that was
they
a
had
mistake for sure.
If they had simply done something as easy as Mos Eisley.
Yeah.
Like
people would have loved that.
People
you
would
could go in the Skywalker house and they came up with a lot of cool ideas from Galaxy's Edge, like
they're cool.
Doc Antar.
Ondar, yeah, Doc Ondar, yeah.
His, antique shop, like that's super cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I do like the First Order aspect, like with their little section, how they're like, the
like
X-wings are cool. Yeah, like there is cool aspects to it, but it definitely feels like they could have done more and done better.
I think we've gone already at this point like a lot, and like we still love going.
Yeah.
But I think now after so much time with it, right? I think my biggest thing with it is most of the things to do there is shop.
Yeah. Yeah, like definitely. There's no activities or like
it's just two
they
rides.
do the things with like the phone, like where you can scan certain things. But you'd think there'd be a Jedi challenge and like
something
games that you could play. And I agree with that. I've only been there once. I haven't been in a few years. So.
No,
But it doesn't seem like it's been updated very much, other than like a couple characters.
Well, that's the thing too. Is like I was mentioning the Bantha rides, and we got a little bit of insider stuff, and I mean you probably know more about it, but we have a few friends that work there that have told us like, oh, there's all these things planned that they haven't gotten to do yet.
Yeah.
Right, like the Bantha rides, but also like apparently there's some building across the way from the cantina that was supposed to be like an entire restaurant or something,
like a dinner theater,
like an actual
so,
like
sit down
experience,
and eat,
right?
and then like a performance.
Yeah, but there's like so many aspects of the park that they still haven't gotten to do yet.
Yeah.
Or just have been, or what feels like now is like they kind of just gave up on expanding.
It's been like 5 years, right? Like
at this point.
Yeah, it doesn't.
2019.
Was it 2018?
2019.
Yeah. Damn.
So 4 years.
Yeah,
4
so
years.
it's been a
It just
while.
feels like they haven't really, like made major updates.
I think the biggest issue was they really, with the time they chose, they really narrowed their options of like what they could do, because Tatooine exists like
throughout
for almost ever, like like the whole thing. So they could have done Tatooine, and then they could have done eras, like they could have cycled through like, okay, right now
they
it's
could
OT,
still do it,
and then now it's prequels, and now it's sequels, and but like when they chose this specific time, most of the characters are dead.
Yeah.
Like, why didn't you choose like episode 7 for that to be?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it just kind of like you have the Falcon, but Han's dead.
Yeah.
It's just it makes it weird. And how do you like from like a we're diehard Star Wars fans, right? So like we know everything. But imagine being like a casual fan.
We know everything.
Yeah.
Not every, you know what I mean? But imagine being a casual fan, say you're coming from Germany, right? And you're like, oh, we're going to go to Disneyland or Disney World, and we're going to go to the Star Wars area. You're like, okay, so where's Darth Vader?
Yeah, exactly.
No, he's not here.
Yeah.
Han Solo? No, he's dead.
Yeah.
Princess Leia? No.
Yeah.
Like it's just like for the average person, it's not like it's cool.
Yeah.
It's so cool, but it's just like with the era they chose, it makes it
there's a lot limitations.
It limited,
they
it limited like
and
what they could really do.
They've kept that area by Space Mountain, like Star Wars, right? Like that little museum sort of deal.
Oh yeah,
like where you can still take
Tomorrowland.
pictures with Vader and Darth Maul or something like that. Like it's just weird how like it could just be really one thing. Like,
they don't really talk about it though.
Yeah.
Like,
I think the biggest issue like with Disney is like they want to save face as much as possible, where it's like it's costing them
more.
Like, I mean, not necessarily money, but yes, because if they just went ahead and were like, you know what, we're just gonna make it like seasonal eras or like shit like something cool. Like it's like you could be making a lot more,
like with the Star Cruiser. It's like, are they gonna retheme it? Are they gonna rework it? Or are they just gonna demolish the building? Like, I don't.
That's a waste if they just demolish it.
I don't know. Like what? I don't know what the plan is.
It does seem like they're ready to just cut their losses with that, and like.
What another thing that I would like not bothered me, but was kind of another reason of like why I wasn't as excited as they're like, okay, so like you get there at like 7 a.m. and then like 7:30 you do this, and 8 o'clock you do this, and 8:45 you do this. When I'm on vacation, I want to relax.
Yeah.
I don't want to be
do your own
shuffled
thing.
around and like, yes, there should be activities, but it should be like, okay, for people who like doing activities in the morning, we have an 8 a.m. slot. For people who like doing it in the afternoon, we have 12.
Yeah.
Or like, it felt like everyone that goes on there, they say they love it, but they're like, I don't sleep.
Yeah. Yeah.
They like, it's cool, but it was too much. And I feel like if they kind of took a step back and kind of like, okay, maybe it's not every single person there is an actor, and every second of the day you're doing something, you are free to go to Batu and come back and do your thing in the evening.
Yeah.
I feel like they could significantly lower the price and make it more like a regular hotel.
Just like a themed
like, it's just
deal.
a themed hotel. They have those all over like Disney World.
And the theme that they chose was not a known like aspect of Star Wars. It's this sequel, you know, sort of deal, the Hali-san or whatever it is. Like, that's not a famous ship in Star Wars. Like, nobody cares about that. Like, the rooms didn't resemble anything that's been shown in Star Wars. Like, literally the only thing was like Rodian characters walking around.
It felt like they didn't own the rights to Star Wars.
Yeah, like it's
it felt like they were like, am I wrong?
No, yeah, you're
am
right.
I
It's
wrong?
like almost like Star Wars inspired versus like actually Star Wars.
Like, if someone's gonna pay $6,000 to stay in a Star Wars hotel,
I want to be able to fight Darth Vader like for real.
Like, it needs to be like,
dude, like we're too old to fucking do the Jedi.
Darth Vader
challenge.
wake me up, drag me out of bed, like, oh, capture, bro.
I want Luke Skywalker to come try and murder me while I'm in my sleep. You know?
Exactly. You mean Jake Skywalker?
Yeah. John.
Here we go.
It is weird. It like doesn't feel like Star Wars like at its core. And they tried to like make it canon and like they put it in a book too. Like Han and Leia got married or something on that ship.
It's like their honeymoon. or something.
They like really tried to like, oh no, it's
They're
actually
like,
a part
Ben
of
was
Star Wars.
conceived.
I don't know. I think
Bruh, no.
I think that's been one of like the things that it like not I don't not like, but it's just like, okay, it's like kind of like an ad in your story, you know. It's like when you name drop like the fucking Halcyon, it's like, I know what you're doing. Like,
it's an ad for the hotel.
Like, you know, it's cool, but it's like at the same time, like, I don't know.
They're trying, like, instead of making the hotel a piece of or making it Star Wars first and foremost, they like tried to put this idea into Star Wars.
And be like, it's always been here. It's legendary.
This is a famous hotel or cruise ship, you know.
It's celebrating 1,000 years of voyages, and it's like, okay.
No, it's really
it was a little bit too
because what was funny
conceptual
is when they first opened, there were people I think people that worked there, they were like coming out and talking about it because they would have people come on, like older people, right? And they'd have to like explain the history of the ship, and they're like, oh yeah, it's like 150 years old or some shit, and they're like, I thought this was new. And they're like well, trying to stay in character, and and there was just like a bunch of people that went on that were like, I don't get it.
It really honestly just overall didn't look that much fun, or like
I don't know
I don't know.
I feel like the problem too is Star Wars is very like gritty, and like everything in Star Wars is like dirty and like worn and like, you know,
lived in.
If I feel like if they would have gone and said, we're gonna make it like a repurposed like rebellion era ship that was turned into a luxury cruise that by someone like let's say Hondo Onaka is trying to be like legit,
like
and he's
renovating like, his old hotel.
Exactly, and it's just like this piece of shit that you're staying in, and he's like trying to pass it off as like this
super
high
nice.
end. Like I would have paid $10K for that shit, dude. Like, are you kidding me?
There's like sparks, like
I don't know. Like I feel like
I agree.
I don't know.
There's a 30% chance when you pass the key card, it may shock you. Like,
oh my
just for
God.
experience.
You need an R2 unit to come over and fix it.
Dude, like, imagine like all these inconvenient shit like things that I would have been like, this is so cool. Like,
no, it is. It feels like I don't know. It was obviously a money thing. Like they're trying to make money, and they took a fat L from it. Like, they paid the price. So.
They did.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
It's too bad. I would have wanted to go eventually. And like I said, like it's such a cool concept.
Yeah.
Like I love that they really like put everything they had into it.
Yeah.
I just wish that it was rooted in something we already knew.
Yeah.
Because
there really wasn't a part of me that was like, I'm gonna save for this and spend $5,000 for this. It was always like, oh well, I'm not gonna do that.
It was more like well, whenever we get a chance, maybe, right? But if it was OT era and it's like Vader in like boards your ship with stormtroopers and like like I would have made it my top priority.
And like I mean, just imagine that Vader's boarding. They give everybody like fake laser
like
tag
laser
guns
tag,
and
exactly.
That would be
so cool.
Yeah, it's like those simple changes that I feel like just because they really want to push the sequel era, which is I get it, it's fine. Those are the newest movies. It's like you have to at some point you have to come in and realize that Darth Vader is your biggest draw.
Yeah.
By owning Star Wars, like you own Star Wars, embrace it.
From the very beginning, they've had like such a weird balance of like needing to make their own new stuff and like not wanting to overuse, Vader, Luke, like that sort of thing. True. And I feel like in experiences and hotels and the parks, like they should have just went all out. They shouldn't have like made it too conceptual. With the movies and stuff, like they've really like teetered, like should we use Luke, should we use Vader? And I mean, like they're getting better at it now. They're just kind of like doing it now. But in the first like 3 or 4 years, it was like they didn't know what they were doing. They were afraid that they were gonna mess up Vader or mess up Luke. Yeah. And then our kind of first thing was they just CGI'd Luke into Mando, like in that era. Like I don't know, it just seems like they are getting a little bit better at it. But
they're learning for sure. They're learning, but and I guess we'll get into it.
Okay.
But like,
where's the boxing gloves?
There we go.
But I think that where was I? What was I gonna say?
He's got nothing. He's got nothing on me.
I know.
Come on.
No, I think that the biggest thing too was when they bought Star Wars. It's like they got rid of so many parts of the company. Like they shut down LucasArts. They got rid of so many people that were there that knew the story, knew the characters, right? Apparently the creature shop, or what's it called, where they make like all the like that is non-existent. Like there's so many aspects of Lucasfilm that when they bought it they just shut down.
That's weird.
It's like, okay, if you're paying $4 billion for fucking for anything, you probably just want to let it do what it's doing. Right? Like yes, bring your influence. Obviously they wanted to make their movies and they wanted to make all this stuff that we've gotten, which is understandable. Who wouldn't if you're paying that much for it? But it's like, you gotta, like, why are you gonna shut down half of the company just to put Star Wars on something? Right. But I think like my biggest thing with the sequels themselves, right? I think they're great movies, right? But my biggest thing is the complete 180 in specifically Luke's character. It's not that I don't see that ever happening, right? I just think that we didn't get
from
enough
the contrast
context.
From Return of the Jedi to and I think no, I agree with that.
I think it's that's my biggest thing is the context of why did he get like this, right?
There was too big of a time gap between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. 30 years. I mean, that's the biggest time gap between any of the movies, and we just pick up right at that moment. And like, they obviously, if they're creating a new story with the actors, they were old already. They're 60 plus, when they started making these movies. So the story kind of had to pick up at that point 30 years later.
True.
And I do agree with that. I mean, there's it was jarring kind of to see that and see Luke in that way. I think it's just, it does humanize him a little bit more. I think it was true to the character that is that farm boy, 19 years old, never been off Tatooine. And he, like, we see him be super emotional through the originals, and him making rash decisions and making decisions based off of his initial thought, you know, and he's not perfect and that sort of thing. And I think in the EU, he does get to that point where he's like almost like a god and like perfect in a sense in a lot of ways. And people kind of expected that. But I mean, I'm definitely not against the idea that Luke wasn't, you know, perfect in those movies.
No,
it could have been done differently. But I think now that we are getting some of that middle material with Mando and in that era, we'll maybe start to see maybe why he ends up that way. And
kind of like
I think they did, you know, I think they did a pretty good job of explaining it in the movie. He was like this galactic legend that was expected to be perfect. And he made a mistake, and then he genuinely felt like maybe he was the problem and he should go away because you know, again, I think there is a hard contrast between him throwing the lightsaber down in front of the Emperor and saving Vader versus attempting murder on his nephew, you know, like I do think it's, you know, a lot. I don't know when's the last time you watched the movie. When was the last time?
I remember it pretty well.
We watched it before Rise came out.
Yeah.
So it's been a few years.
So.
Yeah.
I find that, you know, a lot of people that talk about the movie have not seen it in quite some time.
Yeah.
For one reason or another, you know, and like there's negatives to that movie for sure. Like, you know, there's a lot of goofiness and stuff, but honestly, like they did, if you go back and watch it and you see how like upset Luke is by what he did, he knows what he did is wrong, and he knows what, like, he did not make the right decision with Ben, and he punishes himself for it. And, you know, if you don't like that's completely fine. But there's the part that I don't like is when people say it just doesn't make any sense, or it's completely not, you know, who Luke was. And I feel like he always was this emotional, rash kind of guy who wasn't trained to be a Jedi from when he's 3 years old, like the prequel Jedi are. You know, he was this normal guy until he's 19 years old, and he becomes like the most powerful person in the galaxy. And there's a lot of responsibility and pressure to be that. So I think it's honestly my favorite topic to talk about because it is so, like, some people think it's just so wrong, and other people see it like it's kind of perfect in a way, but I don't know. You think he's Jake Skywalker? So.
No.
I would give it another watch though. Like if you haven't seen it in a while, like give it another watch, and maybe like just seeing Mando and like all these shows and maybe change your perspective a little bit.
Yeah. I think that I think you're right. I think it's time for a rewatch.
Yeah.
I think that my personally, I think they rushed into things.
Yeah.
With you know, we're continuing the saga, right? And it's fine if they were going to do that.
Yeah.
But I feel like if they were going to do a 7, 8, and 9, and they're already planning, and there's room. Well, I mean, they just announced the episode 10, pretty much. Yeah. So they were always planning on making not just 7, 8, and 9, right? So if there was going to be all this development in Star Wars, right? I feel like 7, 8, and 9, the ones we got, we could have still gotten that, but those should have been 10, 11, and 12.
Yeah.
I feel like 7, 8, and 9 should have been the new
Jedi Order.
Yeah, new Jedi Order.
Yeah, and that's where like the age of the actors comes in though. Like, you know, how do you skip all that time? And, you know, Luke is 60 years old now.
Yeah. Well, I think that we could have still seen them at that age at the new Jedi Order, right? Yeah. Like, so where
at least
we
gotten
see
a little bit of it.
Yeah. Because they still kind of
showed it in
him a little bit.
Yeah.
In 8.
Yeah.
When they show the flashback, so if we could have seen him like that, right?
Yeah.
Where in those 3 movies we could have seen the rise of the First Order, the fall of the new Jedi Order, right? The fall of Kylo Ren, and seeing the everything that makes Luke what he is in like 7, 8, and 9, right? Like what all the things that like context pretty much, where they could have totally and this is just my you know, my personal preference, but it's like they could have totally had Mara Jade, right? Or let's say it's not Mara Jade. Let's say he had a wife.
Yeah.
Right.
Karen.
And
Karen.
Kathy.
Yeah.
Where it's like, let's say he had a wife and maybe even a kid, just like in the EU.
Yeah.
And they end up dying.
Yeah.
Right. That to me is like,
and
well,
it's
then
his fault in some way.
And it's his fault.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, I mean, it really is all his fault because his actions that, from what he does in Ben's room is what inevitably causes everything to happen, right? So it's like, that's why I'm like, I feel like I need more to believe this, right?
Yeah, they really only gave us bits and pieces of that.
That's the biggest part for both of us. Like, it's not that we can't fathom that Luke would do what he did.
Yeah. You just don't know why.
I just don't know why.
Yeah, it just goes from
like,
I'm a Jedi, like my father before me, to the Jedi must end.
And I'm going to kill my nephew.
To the next movie. And it's like, well, we never saw him as a Jedi until the last 5 minutes of the 6, right?
Yeah, it takes a lot of like understanding about what they were trying to do with the movies and accepting that to like really like it, I think, because you're right. I mean, we don't get any of that context, and I feel like people blame it on The Last Jedi, obviously, but The Force Awakens put him on that island.
No, I think it's
why was
like
what other reason would he be on that island other than exiling himself for years? It was apparent that he hid for some reason. It's like, other than him, I don't know, I can't even think of anything else. Like, he's hiding maybe from somebody, but that's kind of the same thing. I do agree though that there should have been more context. And you really do have to read into it kind of and like buy into what happens in the movie to understand and like appreciate that fully, because there is a lot of gaps you kind of have to fill in for yourself there.
And I feel like that's what they're doing with all the new shows and stuff like that. It's all to do that exactly. Yeah. But it's like,
we need like a Clone Wars show, but like New Jedi Order with like Luke and Ben, and then that way we could like get more of that context the same way they did for Anakin's character with the Clone Wars. Like, so many people did not care for the prequels or did not care for Anakin until they watched Clone Wars, and they're like, he's my favorite character. It's like, it's the same character, but he got all of that. You get the context and you understand why he does the things that he does.
I think there was enough though in the prequels themselves to show why
the
Anakin
prequels didn't need.
But it enhanced it for sure. But you see, I mean, he gets taken away from his mom at 10 years old, and
he's a slave at birth.
He's a slave. Like, he's had a rough childhood, and then he's emotional and gets attached to Padme, and. You see the darkness start to come in Attack of the Clones with the Tuskens and whatnot, and then obviously Revenge of the Sith, he goes AWOL, but like, there was enough there to justify. It wasn't just like a flip of a switch, even though sometimes it does feel like that. Like, all of a sudden he's just like this evil guy, but you see Palpatine manipulate him, and like, I mean, it's kind of perfect the way it was portrayed to make this little kid into the most evil
It's beautiful.
Like, it's awesome. It's perfect.
It's literally Star Wars. I've always seen it, and I'm sure most people see it this way, but it's like, it's literally the struggle of light and dark that's in all of us. Right? Everyone has a darkness. Everyone, but it's like whether you choose to act on it or not. Right? It's like whether you choose to be a good person.
A little bit, it can get the best of you, and you make one decision, chopping off Mace Windu's hand. And the rest is history. Like, it only takes one of those things. I feel like in real life, you do something really bad, your life goes a completely different direction.
It's like life is over.
You might not turn into a youngling slaying, half man, half robot, but you're going to prison. You're going, you're a bad person for the rest of your life. And there was enough of that in the prequels where I do agree. Like, you do have to fill in a lot in the sequels to justify that, Luke. People, I think, overreacted, obviously, and like it.
I think the big thing, like, this is for me, and I see it in a lot of people, like I see in comments or discussions or whatever. It's like, people forget that Luke was the hero and Vader was the bad guy, and in the in the sequels, yes, Kylo's the bad guy, but Luke becomes Kylo's bad guy.
Yeah.
Luke becomes the villain.
Yeah.
So it's like, yes, it's very interesting. It's very thought-provoking, but like at its core, it's like Luke falls from the hero we know. And I think that's why so many people get upset and like obviously get too emotional and too passionate and go for the jugular when like we can have a civil discussion. But like, I feel like for a lot of people, that's why they don't like it so much, because they're like, like Luke was always like, yes, he was emotional and yes, he like made mistakes, but like in the end, he always made the right choice. Yeah. But in The Last Jedi, like
not always. He left Dagobah against, you know, and he.
I mean, like.
No. Yeah, you're right. I'm just saying, like, and he realized very quick that he made a mistake.
He got bodied.
He got
and that's why I think it makes that moment in Ben's room so powerful, is because like it was literally, and they explain it in the movie, it's like literally a fleeting moment of him feeling like I could end all this right here, right now. Turns on his lightsaber and he instantly is like, shit, what am I doing? But it's too late. Ben's awake and he, you know, attacks him basically. And I just think that makes that so much more powerful and moving, the fact that Luke is this great character and he's so smart and wise, and this one small moment, this one mistake leads to Kylo Ren in the First Order. Which in its own, I mean, the First Order really didn't make sense until they started all this Mando stuff with the Imperial Remnant and stuff. Like, I was confused on who the First Order was at first, like the first couple movies. But I just think I think that's really cool, and I get why, you know, people wouldn't like that. From that contrast, people always say, how could the guy who saw the good in Vader even possibly, you know, murder his nephew? But I think that's why it's so important and crucial, is like, it's literally just this moment for Luke that completely destroys the next 7 years of his life, you know?
I also think it would have helped to see what Luke saw.
If they did a little flashback or flash forward. You know,
a vision of the future.
Like, so what is this?
Because you know, my biggest critique of that moment, and just so you kind of understand how, like, why I always have such a hard time like digesting it, is that scene specifically in episode 6, right, where it's like during their duel, during Vader and Luke's duel, where they're fighting and Luke hides and he's like, I'm not gonna fight you, and at that moment is when Vader starts like egging him on, and he goes, oh, you have a sister, maybe she'll join me, and that's when he fucking flips.
He flips,
and he reacts out of fear. He reacts out of anger and fear. And the whole point of him looking down at his hand after seeing he cuts off Vader's hand and he sees that he's this fucking monster underneath.
Could be the same thing.
Could be the same thing. And it was all because he reacted out of fear. But then 30 years later, he reacts out of fear again. For the same people. And Grant,
I don't know, that sounds pretty consistent character-wise. I'm just saying.
True. But think about it this way.
But he didn't learn the lesson.
That's what I mean. It's like he didn't learn it.
I agree with that. I think it's just one of those things. Again, we don't know what this man's been up to for the past 30 years, and we just pick up at this point where we never got to see Grandmaster Luke in like that awesomeness. I think if we got to see that first, it would have made what happened to Last Jedi a lot more justified.
I totally agree.
I agree.
And this is the first time we get to really see Luke since the original trilogy, 30 years, like actually on screen.
I think they left too much up to the audience just accepting something and not explaining it. And not that we need the whole story, but it's been 30 years. We need more than just a crawl.
Especially when episode 6 ends with, well, now he's gonna go on rebuild the Jedi Order, and Leia is gonna be one of the first Jedi of the next generation. And it's like, we didn't get any of that. You know, so it's like so when I say like that's the problem I have with it, it's like it's not that I can't believe it. It's I need that context.
Yeah,
we
the
need
way
more.
that it was done.
Exactly.
We need more.
It's like,
No, I agree. Yeah, I think, and I think they will continue to do that, and we'll see more and more,
for sure.
and get that epic Luke Skywalker that people want, and we've already gotten some of it.
oh
in
yeah,
Mando
alone.
Yeah.
just that one scene
Oh my
was
God,
like so
yeah.
valuable, you know,
Yeah.
like, but yeah, I do think I completely agree with you guys. I mean, you know, you're hitting it right on the head in terms of like what could have been done. It's just one of those things on a daily basis when you're talking about The Last Jedi, when people are just constantly.
You also
and they,
can't get
and they
into
don't
all
want to
that.
have a conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
They just
It's
want
just
to
nope,
fight.
nope. It's
Yeah.
bad. It's. I can't
It's
understand.
mid, it's
yeah,
mid.
exactly. It's mid.
Fuck
Yeah. But no, yeah, I think, you know, we could probably talk about it all day. It's just, you know, I think you should rewatch it though. And
I think we will.
And,
I think we will.
And with that perspective of,
Yeah.
you know, it's been that 30 years. Luke did actually rebuild the Jedi Order, and we just haven't gotten to see that yet, you know, and maybe you'll like it a little bit more.
I think so. Well, yeah. and we definitely have not watched it since all this new stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Since all like little things have been filled in.
Well, Luke aside though, what about like Rose and Finn and like that aspect of the movie?
I feel for Kelly Marie Tran. I have no fucking issue with her.
Yeah, I don't
whatsoever.
really either. She's not that bad.
No, not at all. She's a sweetheart, and I feel so bad for all the fucking bullshit that people have put her through.
Yeah.
I just think that part of the movie, at the end of the movie, or like big picture wise, like it was just kind of like a waste of time.
Yeah.
For both the viewers and the plan.
I think it's more, honestly, it focuses more on Finn's story and him. At the very beginning, he's running away to try and just find Rey. That's all he cares about. He doesn't care about the Resistance and the bigger fight. Like, he's trying to run away just so he can find Rey.
Yeah.
And Rose kind of is like, you know, there's a bigger thing happening here. They go to Canto Bight, and people really hate that part, which I don't mind it. Like, I think it's very Star Wars-y with the casino and whatnot. And, you know, they talk about, like, the bigger issue in the galaxy, that he sees the slave kids, and, like, by the end of the movie now, he almost sacrifices his life for the Resistance to try and defeat the First Order. So I think there is an arc there. It's just, it's not as cool as Rey and Kylo and Snoke in the movie. And it is a B plot, you know.
Yeah.
And it is kind of goofy, like, you know.
Yeah.
And I mean, people didn't like how like Rose kissed him at the end, and
that is honestly, I think, one of the weirdest.
I'm sorry, weird.
Personally,
it is weird.
I think it's one of the weirdest moments in Star Wars.
Yeah, but to Finn, it was weird too. Like if you look, it wasn't like this passionate kiss. It was like he was like, "What the fuck is she doing?"
Yeah,
she was like passing out, and like she obviously like has a crush on Finn or something, you know, and like she just kisses him in this like moment, and he's like, fuck is going on? Like,
it's a weird moment. I think it's weird that she was like I understand, yes, you don't want your friend to die, but like that was his choice.
Yeah.
Like,
you mean for her to crash?
Yeah, like for her to like kind of keep him from like.
But
like,
we're not
gonna
win
to, like,
by just whatever she says. I don't even know what she said. Destroying what we hate by saving what we love.
I personally didn't care for that. Like, I understand like what they were trying to do. I don't think it like came across the best way, and then I think it is so much weirder because in 9 they act like it never happened.
Well that's a whole other problem with that, like Disney and Lucasfilm like listening to the internet and trying to be like political about it and like make the right decision versus sticking to what they set out to, you know. Like Rose wasn't in the Rise of Skywalker like because people hated her, like
5 seconds,
not because she was a bad character, but because people hated on her so much that they were afraid that was going to happen again. And you know, that I think that's been a major problem with them in general, is listening to the internet too much when so many people are just there to complain.
And then people are still upset. People still didn't like the movie, even though they tried to like cater to that certain So
I don't know. I absolutely love all the sequel characters. Like I love Rey and Finn and Poe's my favorite, honestly.
Poe's cool,
and Kylo, right?
Yeah.
And but I feel like I feel like the reason I always bring up they should have done 7, 8, and 9 as like the rise of the First Order and like the fall of the New Jedi Order and the New Republic, and then 7, 8, and 9. The 7, 8, and 9 we got should have been 10, 11, 12.
Yeah.
Is because like I feel like the 3 movies we got, they were competing too much with the new characters they're trying to introduce and the legacy characters.
Yeah,
right.
It's a hard balance.
It's a very hard balance. Yeah. So it's like if they would have done 3 movies in between, right? They could have given the legacy characters their time to be like the mentors.
Yeah.
Then they could have still all died.
Yeah.
I'd have been fine with that. And then the next 3 could have just been all the new characters, right?
Yeah.
Like, and it's specifically for that balance that I feel like they needed to kind of nail.
Yeah, there was too much in the movies
to
like for 2 hours to cover all that and make you like the new ones and appreciate the old ones. And I just think honestly the age of the actors was just such a big impact on the story. You know, like there was no de-aging really, like you know, in that moment. So they had to go with what they did. And I mean, it was just a big impact overall. And yeah, I do agree that would be sick if we could go back and get those 3 movies, like the Heir to the Empire type movies. You know, that would be sick.
How do you feel about all like the recasting versus de-aging? Like, where do you lean?
I don't know, because I really like Alden, like in Solo.
Yeah.
He did a great job, and like when I look at him, I see Han Solo just Harrison is obviously like Han Solo at the heart, but like I don't see some guy playing Han Solo when I see Alden. I see Han Solo, you know. But I also in Book of Boba Fett with Luke, I mean that he looked amazing. He sounded just a bit robotic, but it was so good. I feel like they could continue doing it that way, and I really wouldn't have a problem with it. Like, it's obviously harder for them to do it that way. It takes a lot more work and budget, I'm sure, but it would feel weird. I don't know. Han is different than Luke. It would feel weird having a different actor
play Luke.
But the Alden, like the Solo Han, that's him younger.
That's it. That is a younger version.
So it's like I'm more like I feel like I don't really like. I loved Solo. I loved Alden, and I feel like it's different when it's like you're showing them younger.
Yeah, that is
but
true.
If you're
it's
trying,
more believable.
But if you're gonna
it's
recast,
after Return of the Jedi. Yeah,
we've
already seen Mark on both ends.
Exactly.
Yeah, that is true. I think with Luke specifically, they got to keep going with the CGI. They can't put another actor in at this point when we've had Mando, we've had Book of Boba.
It's too late to change it.
And honestly, comparing Mando to Book of Boba, like he looks 10 times better.
Oh yeah, as the technology.
Even in that year or 2 that it took, like it just developed so much better. I think they got to keep going with that. But if Han was to come back, though, I mean, Alden could play him. I don't know. It would be weird to I don't know, if Han or Leia show back up in the Heir to the Empire era that Dave is doing. Like, are they gonna? I feel like they'll CGI him.
I think so because of the reason that we were just saying. It's like we've already seen both characters played by the same actors on both ends, right? But if they show them younger, it's like we just saw little Leia, right, and little Luke. Like that's like I don't
completely
different, right?
Yeah.
And it's like the same thing with like the prequels. We get to see Obi-Wan younger, and it's a completely different actor.
Yeah, I feel like when it's younger, you
can get away with it.
Or if it's way older, I'm sure it would be fine. If we haven't seen the actor play him that old, you know,
exactly.
Yeah, that is true.
But I think the deep fake technology is getting better every day, and especially with Disney's budget, you know, it's like they can do it. But like
I don't know.
It's also I mean,
that's the thing is like, yes, it worked for like
they did it with Indy.
They're
doing it with Indiana Jones.
But isn't that flashbacks?
Yeah, but it's still like a good portion. They don't. What I'm saying too is like, if we get, I mean, we are getting this like Heir to the Empire movie. I don't think Luke is going to be the main character.
No.
I don't think
he'll be there, but I don't think he's going to be in the whole 2 hours.
Exactly. So if it's like that, then they could totally do it. for sure.
I think the most insane thing about the sequels that nobody talks about is the fact that Carrie was dead in The Rise of Skywalker, and she's still in the whole movie, and they like made that work. Like they made her like she had a full-on posthumous performance. It's just like insane how they accomplished that, and like nobody really like talks or appreciates that enough.
That's very
like,
impressive.
And the fact that The Last Jedi is Carrie's last movie, like her last performance as Leia is like
that's
pretty
also
special,
a big reason why I'm like, you know, you got to respect those movies.
We got to see the actors play those characters again, where I felt when it ended in 2005, like that was never going to happen again. Seeing Luke on the big screen hold a lightsaber was like, oh my god, I never thought I would get to do this, and was enough for me to like appreciate it and want to watch it again. And you know, I think I did see The Last Jedi in theaters like 4 times. I was a shill right from the beginning. But yeah, there's a lot of reasons to appreciate those movies other than just like the story aspects. You know, people love like the littlest things about the originals and the prequels, like background characters and stuff. And I feel like the sequels, people completely glossed over those types of things.
Yeah,
like the
because
details.
of Luke and like the story overall. Like, you know, nobody cares about the Bib Fortunas of the sequels. You know, like, it's all just about Kylo and Luke, and you know.
No, you're right. There is definitely a lot to like appreciate about those movies, and there is like truly and to respect, especially because of those reasons, like it being Carrie's last movie, right? It's like that's a big thing for a Star Wars fan. It's like that's our princess, right? You know, she's royalty. So it's like but no, I think it's definitely time for a rewatch. We gotta
look at that, we solved it.
Look at that. 2 people can have different opinions,
right?
And have a normal conversation.
Where's
actually
where's the diplomatic handshake?
Look at that. The diplomatic handshake?
Yeah, between both fan bases.
There
you go.
Oh my god.
All right, well,
we've done the impossible on the Punch It Chewie podcast.
Exactly.
That's always my goal, to convert The Last Jedi movies.
Oh my god.
Okay, something fun. I would love to know, what is your favorite Star Wars meme?
Ooh. Honestly, prequel memes used to piss me off. Like people would just post them so much. Hello there. I'm like, oh my god. How many times can we use this, you know? I don't know. Gosh, it's hard to pick that type of thing. Like, I really like Count Dooku memes. Like his one-liners are like my favorite to comment. Like, brave of you, boy, like that sort of thing. He's got those good one-liners that you can like say back to people. I really like Count Dooku.
Okay.
I mean, Obi-Wan's he's the king, I think, of the memes.
Definitely.
His are overused, I think.
At this point,
yeah,
for sure.
There's not that many like original trilogy ones.
There really isn't.
And
it's a shame.
I would say Count Dooku. That's my guy for memes.
I enjoy the Grievous coughing memes.
Grievous. The adding to his collection is a good one for sure. Yeah. Anytime you get something added, you gotta be like, it's a fine addition to my collection.
I love it.
No, good. Well, I mean, good note to end on. To wrap on. Positive.
The Yoda death scream.
Oh my god. I forgot to add it to the freaking soundboard. But do I add the guy or do I add the actual? Not both. Both.
Yeah.
Depends on the mood.
All right. Well, is there anything you'd like to plug, or where can people find you?
This camera.
That one right there.
No, just follow me on Officially Star Wars on Instagram. I do have YouTube and a podcast at Brody1 Kenobi on YouTube. Go check out punchitchewiepodcast.com. That shit is popping. No, yeah, that's about it.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Yeah,
and then your Simple Man podcast, right?
Yeah, Simple Man podcast. You know, I've been pretty inconsistent with mine over the past couple of years, but there's another Simple Man podcast that's like about jujitsu or something like that. Yeah. And they're like SEOs doing better than mine. So if you search Simple Man podcast, theirs comes up, and I'm like, God damn it.
Well, it's the one with Brody.
Yeah,
the Star Wars.
Star Wars. That's like,
No more
not jujitsu. I know nothing about that.
Do like a feature.
Teras Kasi, maybe. But.
I need to collab with those guys.
Yeah.
Do it.
Armboring someone.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that is about it. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us on another episode of the Punch It Chewie podcast. Thank you so much, Brody, for coming out, and I'm so glad we finally got to do this.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was super fun. That flew by 2.5 hours.
Dude,
yeah.
It definitely flew by.
It's awesome.
We were having fun.
Yeah.
All right,
go watch The Last Jedi.
Let us know your thoughts. Yes. Did he change your mind?
Yeah.
Did he make you love it more?
Yeah.
All right. Well, as we say here,
This party's over.
Yeah. And thank
You're gonna chop my head off now.
Thank you guys so much, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Ooh, okay.
Hard-hitting.
Something fun. I would love to know, what is your favorite Star Wars meme?
Ooh. Honestly, prequel memes used to piss me off. Like people would just post them so much. Hello there. I'm like, oh my god. How many times can we use this, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. Gosh, it's hard to pick that type of thing. Like, I really like Count Dooku memes. Like his one-liners are like my favorite to comment. Like, brave of you, boy. Like that sort of thing. He's got those good one-liners that you can like say back to people. I really like Count Dooku.
Okay.
I mean, Obi-Wan's he's the king, I think, of the memes.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
His are overused, I think.
Oh, at this point, yeah, for sure.
There's not that many like original trilogy ones.
There really isn't.
Yeah,
and
should be more.
It's a shame.
Yeah, I would say Count Dooku. That's my guy for memes.
I enjoy the Grievous coughing memes.
Yeah, yeah, Grievous. The adding to his collection is a good one for sure. Yeah. Anytime you get something added, you gotta be like, it's a fine addition to my collection.
Yeah. I love it.
No, yeah, good. Well, I mean, good note to end on.
Yeah.
To wrap on. Positive.
Yeah, the Yoda death scream.
Oh my god. I forgot to add it to the
you gotta add it to the
soundboard. But do I add the guy or do I add the actual? Not both. Both.
Both. Yeah.
Depends on the mood.
Yeah.
All right. Well, is there anything you'd like to plug, or where can people find you?
This camera.
That one right there.
No, just follow me on Officially Star Wars on Instagram. I do have YouTube and a podcast at Brody1 Kenobi on YouTube. Go check out punchitchewiepodcast.com. That shit is popping. That's about it.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Yeah,
and then your Simple Man podcast, right?
Yeah, Simple Man podcast. I've been pretty inconsistent with mine over the past couple of years, but there's another Simple Man podcast that's like about jujitsu or something like that. Yeah. And they're like SEOs doing better than mine. So if you search Simple Man podcast, theirs comes up, and I'm like, God damn it.
Well, it's the one with Brody.
Yeah,
the Star Wars.
Star Wars. That's like,
No
not jujitsu. Not jujitsu. I know nothing about that.
Do like a feature.
Teras Kasi, maybe. But.
I need to collab with those guys.
Yeah. Do it.
Or borrowing someone.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that is about it. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us on another episode of the Punch It Chewie podcast. Thank you so much, Brody, for coming out, and I'm so glad we finally got to do this.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was super fun. That flew by 2.5 hours.
Dude,
or so. Yeah,
it definitely flew by.
That's awesome.
We were having fun.
Yeah.
All right,
go watch The Last Jedi.
Let us know your thoughts. Did he change your mind?
Yeah.
Did he make you love it more?
Yeah.
All right. Well, as we say here,
This party's over.
Yeah. And
You're gonna chop my head off now.
Thank you guys so much, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.